I live on the internet now? Oh, sick. Oh, is this even actually streaming now? It is. Okay, fantastic. Alright, let's tell people. If I share, click. Oh, close button, that's why. For any VOD watchers, I'm composing a "Hey, come watch the video with me" thing. Oh no, I'm getting self-conscious. All right, let's paste those places. Paste, paste, paste. I have to sneeze. I gotta sneeze. Maybe not. Alright, close that. Oh, hopefully be able to see chat. Yeah, how about that? Alright, we got that, we got that. Moving things off camera. Set up a second monitor for the first time in a hot minute. Let's do it.
Those characters did not go anywhere. In fact, they got more new shiny tools.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that 2X.
What are your thoughts on bringing back some of the classics?
If anyone else joins, we can.
I always thought Godzilla is like ready to rumble.
But until then,
what did that character not need?
Let's watch some Universus.
And check bonuses.
I hope the
like,
audio
okay, he's so big, and then we saw Albuquerque. Like, all right, there's some things here. But like, man, if that was legal in Albuquerque, I don't know. Godzilla might have just been stopping through that event, for all we know.
Absolutely. But Godzilla not here today. In fact, we have two incredible players. We have Jake G on the left side of the screen.
I skimmed through the.
Incredible. Look like it's even rated. And then right, we've got Josh T on my favorite character of the set. My favorite character of the format. The character we didn't see at all in Albuquerque. Jesse, he's here. He's on the screen. I'm so excited for him. What are your thoughts on this matchup? Well, let's see here. Bakugo's got some cool new tricks, in my opinion. He's got heal. So we have a built-in cleave. We have that is one of the backups I am most concerned.
Oh, yeah. So I skimmed through the VOD, and we will have some timestamps in here
you have the air symbol.
to skip to. One thing I did notice is I love that they have like little totems that they put on the table before the match. Like they had the Union Jack flag there for a minute.
He's explosive review. Love the fact that
we have different candies and stuff they put on later. But
the
the downside of this stream is that they had some real digitization of the audio feeds a few times.
People thought this was the sleeper card, and then I got explained that the 9 Titans from throughout the ages is actually just insane, and if you're not playing this card, you play 8 Titan attack, like why are you not playing this?
Absolutely. Yeah, responsible play minus 4 damage, or first enhancing your attack gets double hit speed or double damage, taking these massive 4-check 8 for 8s and making them 16 stats whether they want to do or not. But now out, it's
check that Warhammer Titan attack there. That's pretty neat.
2 foundations, a singular back, maybe drop it, but man, having gone second as Josh, I'd be very nervous about Jake and Bakugo's offense, especially going up here.
Yeah, Rebel Rousing here. It's the spicy opener, like the card Bakugo wants to see more than anything else in the universe. Let's just listen to the commentary.
And also, it just has the built-in to do the minus plus. Like, I'm gonna do my penalty, my bonus, and then get plus again. Plus, it's a really strong deadlock. Like,
yes, it certainly does.
Yeah, no one's built. I don't know. We'll see how we see that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, a new format.
Yeah, I'm totally just gonna watch this whole thing in 2X because I ain't got time for that.
As that explosive when you play hits the table.
I'll turn them down. I'm gonna yap.
Bring to the field. The character gets a bonus every time you try to do some damage. You see what I'm minus 1 all the moves. Plus 2 to everything that I'm playing, including this explosive review, considering a ton of cards. The main defensive ideas that we have over everything side is minus 3 damage or minus 1 damage. I don't think if I was Josh, I'd be really nervous with the rest of the time. Yeah, having a penalty and Russian line against this might just be like, hey.
Yeah, Bakugo, this is a underrated character, I think, and probably a. Okay, man, I'm overstimulating myself with music right now.
Why not?
Bakugo turn that down some
Completely
more.
agree. Yeah, I could go on my short list of things to be testing out as I get to plan in the upcoming events. And Jake really leading the charge here. Bring back classic Vile Seizing. 3 for 4, now 3 for 6. Do that rabble rousing and Bakugo together. Potentially draws some cards if B-side can't check a 6, which with those foundations committed is going to be a very tall order to ask.
Once again, we're doing the same line here. We use the reboot for the first attack, and then we use Bakugo to get rid of the second one. We're setting up like we are gonna punch here on 2, and then we gotta climb the hill for the last remaining damage. Yeah, if you are just tuning in, it would look like Bakugo just started their turn, but in fact, it's the 3rd attack that has touched the card pool. 2 cards have been cleared.
Yes, might be a nasty turn 2 kill kind of. Oh god, the 4-hit string. I think Jake's the Bakugo who makes all the finals on strings like this. I know he. My future memories of having watched some of the live stream was included that Bakugo turn 2 kills a 5-hander with 38 health later on.
Is this turn 2? Is this the turn 2 that we were looking for? Holy
5 hits?
Just got me on the screen, Jake. Don't kill on turn 2. Let the people see what cool
My leg down. Jesus Christ.
We're gonna need some sort of miracle if we're going to make this happen. 0 low block from a syndicate target and hope and pray, but it looks like not enough as we take it.
Yeah, turn 2 through a block, dang.
Explosively taking down this first game against Josh's Beast Titan. Jesse, what happened, man? If you're a Josh fan, if you're a Beast Titan fan, what do you need to fix this?
Well, this is just one of those situations where the deck, like this deck is designed a lot of the 4 deck, the deck paper deck, which is like if you have a system like all these cards interact with each other, and you have your opponent with their pants down, it's like, what do you got? Like I'm gonna make you discard 2 cards, I'm gonna put you out the no cards almost, and I'm gonna get them. Like I rate Scowl is just a bait. Like you go Wild CZ, draw a card, hit for max damage, and then double Scowl for 9. That's gonna fit most people.
Dude, is this the power of drift? Like just having bling just makes you more powerful, makes your draws better. It's not at all how it works, but you know, it's a good mythology, right? It's a good story.
Exact line for the past 2 formats, easily, of rabble rousing into the largest explosion, 33 on turn 2 after building 4 foundations. If you had written this character off, go reevaluate. Go right now and sleeve up Bakugo 4, and just go run your locals with the amount of power, the explosiveness that he has access to his fingertips.
Very rarely do people think about this. This deck you can play sweeping daggers.
Certainly can.
Like it's a fury attack. It fits right into the pile. And
All right, I'm gonna mute the stream to yap out as well as sideboarding. So this idea that you gotta go sleeve up Bakugo 4, that he's like uniquely. He's unique, honestly, almost. He is unique, obviously, right? He does things that other characters don't do. He has properties, results, whatever. The biggest thing that's unique about him is that he gets to ignore damage reduction, right? That the Beast Titan built his Titans under orders, and I mean, he built a foundation that got sunned. Those said minus damage, and those are very ineffective against Bakugo. That's Bakugo's biggest strength. The fact that you can goldfish a 5-hit string into a kill on turn 2, very far from a special power of Bakugo, very far from unique. And almost the big challenge in Universus isn't taking your games where you're player 1 and running hot and checking well and drawing the fat hands of orange and converting those to wins. You can take that for granted. You should be able to take that for granted. If you can't do that, that's a downside, but it's not a disqualifier if you can't do that. But it's not very hard to build a deck that can have that happen and do that all just fine. The challenge is finding the balance when you're player 2, when you're behind, when you're running badly, and finding ways to maximize your equity in those situations. But that's less hype actually. So I think actually the answer is bling yourself up, drip yourself out in chrome and chains and jewelry. Go to your locals and blow people hell up. And if you don't succeed, it's because you're not tricked out enough. You need to invest more money in alternate arts and pearls. But let's talk about game 2 here. So we got Smiling Titan attacks. Let's go.
Lose a stamina, you now have to target this. I need one more attack from you. And not only do we get to draw from it entering, we also get to draw from it leaving.
That's true. That is definitely the value here. We're immediately active.
The judge tells him, hey, back up. You can't commit it unless you've drawn your card already. Or if you're going to miss your draw or whatever. Genuinely, somewhat of a downside there that if you...
When you're having so much fun...
There's the universe where you would not commit Smiling Titan here because you aren't worried about getting hit in the face. And you'd rather be able to ready it with Night of Rest if you're going to have all these cards in hand to block with, honestly. That's a idea I haven't really thought of with Beast Titan. I've played a bit of Beast Titan and haven't really ever considered that new foible of it with a Night's Rest now. But looks like Bakugo blocked, and we're going to see some Vile Seizing. We're going to see the Rabble Rousing. You should have... if he had like another ring on his hand, he would have drawn that Rabble Rousing for this turn, I think.
Also with the you want to commit 2 foundations.
It's a goofy premise. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop with that.
Correct, yeah, the Smiling Titan is for certain going to die, which is double paying off of the Death Rattles, burning Bakugo down to 28, and then drawing an additional card off of the Beast Titan. Again, Smiling Titan did its job. It was there. It was a body to be exploded, and we continue to build.
It's the right line here. Let's get the Like, this is gonna be a little bit of a slower match, but there's one of my favorite new cards. If you are not playing 2 of this card in your main deck, I question your choices.
How many Moment of Normalcy should every deck play? That's a fun topic. I
Preserves
disagree with
your
Jesse
deck
on the
completely
particulars that every deck should automatically play 2. That is
One of the big themes of Attack on Titan,
not something I'd go for.
was a lot
but-
of power inside of the Infinity symbol, which I'm sure we're going to be seeing a ton of those cards coming out today.
Monkey
just
flip!
the tip of the iceberg, but one of the most powerful cards inside the Beast Titan deck hitting the table now. It's got the man's face on it. The Beast Titan attacks. 6 min for 8. I can choose to sacrifice a backup to give a throw, unless we are doubting ourselves.
No!
This is one of the other amazing.
This is actually not the worst catastrophe that's ever befallen anyone. What's nifty here is we can get to steal the Beast Titan attack. It's not a shift attack anymore. It's not going to draw its cards. It is going to go to our stage face down as a foundation. So in some edge cases, you know, now that's one more resource can just tap fast control check that you wouldn't have had if it hadn't gotten sealed here. Oh, that's really cute. Bakugo can clear his build without on its hand. It's really thin marginal value, to be honest.
This is huge. This is a very
How often are you going to be constrained on difficult?
attacks inside our stage. Because it's sealed, it even loses the shift keyword. We don't even get to shift it down. This is a face down foundation if we use Beast Titan response.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah. And so we do not draw the card. We do not get to go find a ranged attack out of this profile. We do not get to give +2 damage, but we did gain a foundation, so I guess that's fine for my.
Yeah, Filled Without is real hater card on all these shift attacks. They're very sad. It's very disappointing. But we'll see. I'm guessing this is an Obsidian
that this is a
rock throw.
I believe this is a Beast Titan Rock Barrage.
Yes, there's a lot of attacks that's looking at the attack lineup. I think that's what we don't want to do.
We're definitely gonna get to see if it is because we're reaching for backups. This card, a ton of blitzes on it. Blitz, build in a non-unique backup from my discard pile. We chose 2 to 3 Titans. It's gonna allow us to draw a card off Beast Titan.
Yeah, so I think there's actually a very interesting outcome lesson. Lesson not really the right word. A very interesting interaction here. The most important thing about that Filled Without can do is we're kind of seeing a level of like the 5-hander curse here, right? Where Beast Titan is attacking, his player 1 has a tempo advantage, and his placement attacks, they haven't gone well. And now he's checking 3s on the blocks, or checking 3s on the builds. He has to commit out his damage reset. Doesn't take the momentum off the rock rise that did deal damage. He only got 5 damage in for that turn, and like a pretty limp build, a pretty committed stage for his efforts. And the interesting thing about this that we can observe here is that with Filled Without, he got Filled Withouted, and then he sent 1 more attack, and then he passed his turn. And so one extremely like high level, this is almost useless because it'll give you so many false signals. But one way you can model Universe, I'm gonna mute the guys while I yap about this one, because I think we're seeing a trend that starts with a full price Luna Tihera, so that's something. But I'll skip the play-by-play because I want to yap about this. One way to model the game is that in Magic we have the idea of card advantage, right? If you have Divination, you're +1 cards, and that gives you that gives you an advantage, gives you a lead. You can just count the number of objects that are in play, the amount of material. And that idea doesn't transfer to Universus very well, but it doesn't fail to transfer completely either. And this is a thing that like when I wrote a script about the World Championship, or like wrote notes that was going to turn into a script. This was kind of my big idea of what my Hanji deck was doing. It's taking the idea of card advantage and trying to achieve that by starting its turn with 0 cards in hand as frequently as possible. Because if you start with your turn with 0 cards in hand, you draw 7. And when you can take risks and go to 0 cards and not get hurt for it, not get punished, you manifestly have achieved an advantage. I mean, in this game, it looks, I think Bakugo, I haven't counted, I haven't been paying attention to this model until I've just been thinking of it kind of off the cuff. But Bakugo's ahead on Foundations right now. He's player 2, he's ahead on Foundations. Despite the Beast, and you know, it's fuzzy because the backups are in play. The backups outnumber the Foundations, or the backups cumulatively make the Beast Titan stage larger than Bakugo's here. But with Filled with Doubt, when you can call out your opponent's going to attack you once or twice, and you can both Filled with Doubt their lead and then also fully block it, that takes away that whole dimension of mediocre poke turns. And the entire dimension of attacks that are designed to live in mediocre poke turns, like Beast Titan attacks into Rock Barrage, those were attacks for value, and they did not achieve very much value that previous turn from the Beast Titan, because the one got Filled Without it, the next one just didn't get to do very much, got a little bit of damage in, whatever. And I think that's a underrepresented part of the story of Filled with Doubt, is that it lets you, if you can call out your opponent's not going to hurt you very badly, you can get very greedy, and it lets you greedily impose yourself on their turns where they're just trying to do incremental marginal things. At the same time that it's kind of, the copium for it is that, oh, this is counterplay for the Falling Titan attacks, for the Falling Titans decks that are playing 4 attacks. This is copium for the Flash Deku with Phantom Threat that we're going to counterplay. Like, you build your one-shot deck that's all in on this one card, and Filled with Doubt, now your one card doesn't work anymore. That's a very pro-social thing that the card accomplishes. But also it has some, that's not the extent of, that's not the limit of what Filled with Doubt can do. And I think there's an interesting angle to that, that I wanted to yap about a bit there. And so we got a Warhammer Titan attacks. That's a sweet one. Big fan. Let's turn the casters back on. So we're just to stat check. So Bakugo has taken a bit of damage. Beast Titan's taking a bit of damage. Beast Titan has a single damage reset in play, so that's a powerful resource against Bakugo. It's a ability that lets him take less damage without having to block, and without having to line up his zones, without triggering Bakugo's damage penalty trigger. So those are nice, but the Titans Under Orders don't do very much. I think -3 damage into Bakugo's +3 damage, literally a blank 3-diff backup. I guess in the medium-long term, the Beast Titan's in pretty good shape to win the game pretty soon here because of double Death Rattle and about 7 backups in play. So if we can manage to kill all of our backups and find a single one more than that, Beast Titan's going to win off of Death Rattle triggers. But Bakugo is drawing some large number of cards here, and if he can draw a handful of attacks, he's going to get an extra draw off Kiyomi, and this might be... this could easily be the end of the game for the Beast Titan. I think I don't know how many cards are in his hand. It's not enough to defend a big wide string from Bakugo, who's going to have... If he finds Railbroz anyway, he's probably going to have enough damage, even with the single damage reset in play. It's 19, 19 is like, if all of Bakugo's attacks are 7 damage, that's 3 hits. 1 reset might not even necessarily change that math, and some of Bakugo's attacks are even bigger than that. So let's see how this plays out. We'll turn the casters back on for a little bit.
This is the turn where, we got the round we're on the start. There we go.
Yeah, incredible opener again from Bakugo plus damage for every single move. Again, one of the best
Yeah, so Bakugo stage also, he's got a couple of relevant cards. He's got Moment of Normalcy, which in some universe would play here. Okay, yes, these Titans Under Orders are going to have tax in that they're going to kill themselves. And I wonder if this is like bad for my channel, that I'm gonna just like say kill themselves, do a bunch of TOS stuff. But he brings in, they commit, they spend their last stamina, they go to the graveyard, they trigger Death Rattle, they trigger Beast Titan, so we get to draw some extra cards to defend ourselves with. That's well and good. We got a full block. It's Slight Bomber. We commit our moment of rest, -2 speed guy, and only for 1 foundation on the block there. We're gonna be Sweeping Daggered. Gnarly. Yeah, at some point here I was observing the stages and noticed, I think I'll look at my cursor here. I'm supposed to capture my cursor. It doesn't look like my cursor's here. Why is my cursor not here? Properties. Capture cursor. I don't know, chat, tell me if you can see the cursor. Anyway, this guy, this is not Reluctant Role Model, but maybe possibly have to name that card? Anyway, this is a 0 diff that flips for -1 damage, which triggers Bakugo, so we have a +2 in our pocket. Oh man, we have a good song off the Strawberry Jam playlist right now for the Beast Titan getting murdered. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we have once per turn with our Night Press. I love the stream accoutrements of these big cards marking the invisible state. Which is, I guess, really to say that I hate the invisible state. We have, subsuming our game, all the abilities that have no visible markers, in contrast to, for instance, committed or readied, and affect what's going on. and that we have invented a visual language to represent those.
Things get very dangerous. We got the struggle. And we got a pretty, I mean, a very healthy stage over on the defense side. We got Rebel. We got Sean. Like, this beast is not nearly in the defensive position we were in game one, and I'm certain that Jake has opportunities to realize that. He says, if I push further, how much will I actually get accomplished? How much will actually happen? Yeah, so we're gonna -2 speed here, and we're gonna normal speed, put it at 2. I like that. We're pushing resources. Yeah, I like that. Especially for grinding.
All right, just a little interplay there. We had the moment of normalcy offensive mode getting buffing out the Night's Rest full speed mode, which I guess I was poo-pooing the value. Oh no, ambush thrust. That's real bad news for B-Site here. Not only is that enhanced draw and attack, you know, add an attack to one, add a card to one in your hand, it's always going to be an attack if it's with Baku deck, but also it's got some thick damage, and we just blocked sweeping daggers that was not super buffed, and this is going to give itself +3.
We're needing to decide,
which this might end up being the thing that we're going to be want to be desperate, struggling to reset back to printed back to 4.
Like if I do block this, what else could be happening? That is true.
Speed-Science capacity to block here is getting exhausted pretty fast.
And then continue. Like block stage is incredibly healthy. There's so much more that we can be doing. But it looks like another block coming in. This one a partial block as there's like rank of Titans comes in the 2-low block. Checking a 5.
Partial block on an 8, that's fine. But
continue. We're gonna stay with that. Hope the turtle stay up.
The turtle does stay up, but it lands another rabble rousing coming in. Wow,
so
what an incredible find.
13 health. Yeah, so especially with actual rabble rousing here, this is now dead to any 2 attacks in the universe, assuming they're Furies. Kind of no matter what happens. So that's a bummer. It's gonna be really hard to imagine blocking here. And obviously Jake might just not have another attack, but we'll see how this plays out.
That is
it's probably dead.
That's 9 damage. That's the one where like, okay, this is one of those situations where I would be like, okay, I will apply first the float. I will apply the float. Any response to my bonus. And then because sometimes if I got the first one in on this, I would do the minus again, and it's like, hey, like there's a lie. If I have another attack, like I'd be trying to bait this. I was trying to find a way to bait it.
I think that is fair. I think that's fair.
But it looks like we got this to. Okay, wait a minute. So did we find a second act instance or first?
So I believe what has happened is our players think that the flip for put it back to printed is a minus damage. That's not how the card works. Pocket Go exclusively works off of the card has to have minus, but it might not end up mattering if you do an irate scowl.
Yeah, I think the scowl's gonna finish it. Like even the different the scowl will meet the numbers because with 2 you have double activation to Baku Go off the 2 floating rabble rousings plus this enhance.
Yeah, so commentators and apparently the players here are experiencing the arc of something you can watch on my channel actually here. I'm pretty sure that we had a video about this. Well, we certainly have a video on the distinction between bonuses and increases. I don't think I've actually made the Bakugo video yet. That's been on the procrastination queue since January. But yeah, 2 hits here is going to be... we had 2 attacks at base 5 each, and +4 coming in as a trigger on each of them off of Bakugo responses. That was going to be checkmate pretty much no matter what. Especially with the -2, the extra flip -1 in the stage. Extra bad. So, tough matchup to be set in there, I think. Something you can conceivably try to solve, but would need things to shake out more in your favor, I think. Certainly, we need our opponents to miss more attacks for that to be viable. So let's go to the next one. Oh man, Peak versus Hanji Zoe. Yes, this is... I was joking, we're going to watch some Peak Universes today, and yeah, Peak Finger, Hanji Zoe. We're going to have some backups, we're going to have some foundations getting sacrificed. It's gonna be a good time. Let's go.
Double the attack speed or damage, but when you're throwing this on Titan attacks that are already high speed or damage,
when something
that can be like +7.
Great happens, we'll do the Uncle Roger, put my leg down until then.
Not allowed to attack it because it's 4 difficult.
Yeah, the Hanji Zoe need to protect these Titans, especially at this one that's so powerful. Like this is not one you better have some backup somewhere. Like I'm getting closer to the point where it's like, usually we can ignore backups. We pick and choose. Where I'm like, maybe it's time to start playing cards that say destroy a backup.
Yeah, Nape Strike. Nape Strike might be real. The Valkyrie Mania action says, form destroy 1. Or like Violent Animal Shot, Secret Rare from Critical Role, already has been seeing a good amount of play, but I feel like it's been seeing play for that it's just nice stats, breaker 1, and sometimes removes a card from the rival's hand. But now I feel like it might start seeing play for the removing a backup ability, because you can just, you can't target the backup, but you can...
God, why have I not built Hanji Zoe? Why have I not built this deck? This is fabulous. I love starting with one more resource, even when my character's going to do virtually nothing after that. And Zoe does slightly more than that.
Backup 8 cards.
Yeah. I'm ready to start playing Devastating Loss at this point. I don't like backups, I don't like assets, I just want to get them off the board.
Yeah, Jesse is correct. Play Devastating Loss, guys. The card's very good. Frustratingly good.
So we can play those kind of loops, political strife, damage for backups, and then Breaker 2.
But it's not like despicable like Valiant Shot is.
Two difficulty Haunch Foundation, where it gets plus or minus speed depending on the backups that you have in stage. So already it's
Oh.
3 speed because it's backups plus or minus 1.
Man, I love the death symbol's crazy.
Peak is
I haven't played just like normal death mid range in too long.
You can then use cards like Kill Strike to flip them, cards like Signal Shot to add
Hitting the
weapon flash and build
honestly,
face downs to be blowing.
I don't know if I like this this sequencing on turn 1 here. I think that I'm with you. I mean, it's a long way from the end of the game, but I'm with you is probably the second best card in that build. He just played it at the 5 at the end. I mean, he hit it, so it can't be that bad. But
Going up for speed or damage, we're seeing like I'm with you and loss of consciousness. Both of these have discard pile effects when they're blown up. So we're taking.
I don't know if
here at build 5, very solid start for Peak.
Yeah, we're
it's a tough one if I prefer loss of consciousness on the 5 or disarming glance on the 5 there.
Like we got the one Midoriya that could do that if you wanted to, but this is
Titan
like
pile.
you're slipping. I've seen this character. I've seen play testing of this character, and I'm like, wow, they are just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean,
Yep, and we already see the double.
He's shipping damage on this?
This is 7 high 16.
that's a Titan pile.
Yes, that is what it looks like.
Just a normal, normal attack.
I guess this is.
Just an attack.
Hey Hanji, hey Peak, flinch.
That it's supposed to. You can't make your attacks crazy damage before you add this on. You know,
I think it's like you said. Listen, you're not ready to just raw block a 7-speed high. I know it.
And then we can use
Or I guess it's
Titans to make this like 16 right now feels like a lot, but it could be
That's
later on in the game. This could be much higher.
Yeah, look at this. We're needing to activate all of
yeah.
these.
So now if he doesn't attack again, Peak's not, even if he flips back.
And then we just
Or wait, no, he can just flip back and then build. Okay, that's cute.
Yeah, here comes the commit.
Okay, yeah. So hey Peak, flinch. Push
Push
all your buttons. Half block.
And a half block against this. You know, we took it. It was 16. We peak first enhanced, made it 14. So we're taking 7 from this on a successful block. That's very
Okay,
good.
wow. So yeah, the Peak Universus is already underway. We are full sending some fatty Titan piles. What a world! And we are half blocking. We're smashing buttons and half blocking because our death deck doesn't have enough high blocks. Because no death deck ever has enough high blocks. Splendid. This is great.
Really a few attacks. Like we like one attack, they put all our stats on
And we're checking a 3 on a 60th. Let's go! Oh man.
It's coming in for
Manipulations of Zeke. There's more Titan cards than there were before. Oh.
Not saying unique, because this can be built off of Rock Titan.
What a world, what a world.
And so there was a game I was playing and testing about a week ago where by the end of turn 2 I had like 3 9 Titan cards. That's not good.
I just like the idea of like I get to play all of these low tier Titan backups and you can't come out. I love this.
Yeah,
let's see what we can do. I want to see the death shenanigans happen. That's what I'm looking for.
Something that I'm already pretty impressed by the Peak player.
You peeled, I think that's the +2 low block Titan. Alright,
A lot
alright.
of Peaks just get so used to pressing buttons because you can, and it says burst enhance, so you think you have to. But you don't have to. You can opt to build, not blow up anything. We know this is going to block. It's going to block. It's a half block, but it's a breaker 2 block. But I kind of think that Peak wasn't really going to address after this anyway. They just wanted their foundation, get some guarantee.
Now I really want. I saw that's dope. That's a Pearl 9 Titans in the graveyard that he just checked. I wonder if he has
Oh, never mind.
3 pearls,
Yeah, double battle aura and
or
yeah,
if
that
it's
breaker
like
two
just the
might-
1x that's different, and he chooses to build the normal one in the first place anyway to be less ostentatious or something.
That's a really cool
I gotta
idea.
get me a Pearl 9 Titans. Anyone in chat, you want to sell me one? Like, hit me up.
I'm a little surprised we went for the battle aura over the Thunder Spear, but
Or if you at least one to play my Gen Con Hanji Zoe.
some real danger.
You gotta get at least a little bit of drip. I've previously entertained myself as like I'm a man of the people, right? I'm playing an unsleeved common version of Amajiki. I remember last year in Vegas, and some people commented on that. But now they're making these attacks on Titan cards that are actually nice, that are actually pretty, and I'm turning into you know, not a slave to the fashion or whatever. But
Yeah, we're all the way up to 13 damage. This is going to be over a third.
okay, that's awesome. No, like I'm. That's excellent. I'm glad that you.
Battle Aura is going to be another 11 damage. That means Battle Aura plus 1 more.
Yes, this is you, Derek, or this is someone else who's not BJC. Perhaps I have no idea. But someone in chat said I have 3 pearls and 1 regular because that's what's available. It is excellent if you're in that situation that you put in the different one in your stage first, so as not to leak the information that you might possibly only have 3 in your deck, which is a very thin marginal value. But you don't want to give away information to your opponents for no reason. Like you might as well get things correct when you can or whatever. Anyway, play-by-play action. So this is a kind of tasty Turn 2 string, I guess. We got
We have two that were safe because
Dito lunging to double battle aura. I have no idea how many buttons he's been pressing, but his stage does not look healthy. He did walk into a political strife breaker 2 block, so that's kind of sweet. Let's go, Hanji. Oh, Hanji's
we don't get the damage. We did not flip over to the front side. So
wait, he's
this
trying to
is
kill
a big
him!
We have to make this lethal. Anti-Titan artillery gets a 3, but we also know he has the 1 high block in hand. We can echo this though and just check another. Oh, I think we're perfectly fine because we checked the 5 on it and we can echo it. Yeah, I think we're probably looking at a dead pawn here.
Yeah, we're gonna go -3. We go reduce the speed, +2 damage. Follow up for 3 speed, and +1 with the artillery. We're gonna stretch here. We're just gonna we have to use rip lower.
Yeah.
Oh man, Hanji, peel the runner beast sign attacks to block these.
Yeah.
Please. It'd be too
Here
good.
comes the 1 high block. We knew that this one was going to come. We checks a 3 on it and fails. Oh, no, we're fine. We're back up. So here comes the echo. This is
Yeah,
why
echo
we
and-
check a 5 on it, and this should be the answer.
Alright, dueling a lunge into
There's a chance
Thunder Spear is pretty sick. That's a lot of aggression
No, there.
that can come out here.
Now we just needed to. If the block
I've been
got up there, we have
Coping with Peak. You know, Peak lets you choose what sort of level of aggression you want, how much violence you want to have in your life.
that is definitely the one
And if you
aspect
want
of-
to have the option to be really angry and leave that avenue open and just turn 2 people, it's cool that's available. That's part of that's what makes for Peak Universus is that you get the choices, you get the options, you get the spectrum of outputs that you can choose. I think over-investing in turn 2 kills is a good way to bleed equity in the long run, but at the same time, it certainly works when it works.
We kind of realize that these attacks on Hanji's side, they're very insular, and they're not just generically strong, so we're taking out our sweeping daggers, and we're probably going to be putting in something like a God Titan's Bites, or we've seen that quite a few of these.
Bringing the extra dual needle.
Yeah, an extra dual needle, or we saw like the showdown get taken out because these moves are so fast. How much do you really want to be blocking on that +3 block mod? Yeah, it looks like the God Titan's Bites are coming in for Peak. So a cool decision there to recognize that these attacks are not the best for sweeping daggers right now, so I'm gonna transition out.
Perfectly good spot. I see people make that like don't keep sweeping daggers in when there's like the attacks are so minuscule and like it's not the like I think that's the thing with about sweeping daggers. You think it's this all-ending powerful attack that just, but sometimes when their attacks are very generic or referencing cards you don't have, all you're doing is ruining it.
Just those -3 speed at any moment. When are you just choosing to build?
Alright, it's
with
gonna
Peak
be
like we
here.
saw on that one turn where we didn't blow up foundations right away. We didn't want to. There's a lot of buttons to press, a lot of skill expression. And
Peak
it's just
mulligans
nice,
a lot.
strong on
Interesting.
Universus. And then over here on this Hanji side, we're doing some.
I wonder if there was all attacks or what.
We're doing some crazy combos.
Yeah, we're just like trying to play these 7 different task moves like this. Just be like, well, I'm gonna double the damage. What do you got? And sometimes there's just decks that'll just see that situation. They're like, well, he does that 2 turns in a row. I'm just dead. And that's it. It's like, yeah, it's so easy.
And at any moment, if you don't have like a filter out to seal, or you don't have like a Genkai's guidance to remove something before it happens, Hanji just hits you with an infinite Falling Titans loop. Not infinite, but as many backups as you have, you can just keep playing.
Here's another card I'm happy that there are people that we haven't seen like the all-in control build of that card yet. But all I say is I see it coming to
Hit, the 2-net backup.
Oh no, just the Falling Titan. Where you're just like, I'm just gonna sit here until I can play Falling Titan 12 times.
Jesse said, here's a card that people aren't talking about enough or whatever, or something along those lines. And I thought he was talking about outnumbered, that foundation on top, at the top of Hanji's foundation pile. So if you have 2 backups, you get to go, I think it's either flip or sacrifice. I'm not gonna, let's pull it up in another window, actually.
Airship base rip. You gotta
Find out.
You just can't be airship base.
Right, yeah, you have to have a plan B.
Yes, never just go plan A, this is my whole deck.
Okay, outnumbered, yeah. Enhanced sacrifice, if you have 2 backups, add foundation features to call to your hand. Big fan of that one. And, did he just sacrifice it to, oh, he picked it up himself to read it? What did he fetch?
Activated outnumbered to pick up normalcy. I like it's like, oh, I'm doing my normal system. It looks like we activated
We're choosing to build up big, so even though we only built
here with the old haymaker.
we're choosing to build up big, so even though we only built
That's a bold play for turn 2, but I see track to 5, so you have some leeway. Maybe your hand is full of cards you don't want to play. Wow. Yeah, so outnumbered the card I was just praising. I think of it as an emergency go fetch and my choice of blocks button that maybe you can even like build with Desperate Play type joint.
David, I want to know, what is your opinion of Frantic Rescue?
Yeah, we got a shift. That's a hot build. Wow.
But I am maybe the world's #1 hater of Frantic Rescue. I think that I not think it's deserving of a 4 check, and I think that most
5 ready foundations with a hitch on -2 and
I understand that,
a
like,
9 Titans.
a lot of players are very high on it, so I'm very much in the minority with my
Frantic Rescue
but that's kind of a hot
plus
take. How about you?
Keiko's.
I was kind of thinking it was weekend first. I was like, okay, this is very mediocre. It's not going to do exactly what I'm hoping for. And then I started playing it with Falling Heel Strike. And when you get, the idea is like you're using one early to slow them down, but when you get to respond with 2 of them, I love it. It's like you just sit there across your game where you're like, you don't have to do, like I have ended turns with just 2 of those ready, and I'm like, I'm gonna take one, I'm gonna probably take your first attack and some amount of damage, unblocked. Now try to finish me with multiple of all your attacks. And I think that's my enjoyment of the card.
Yeah, I put it kind of similar to Keiko's Aid in my opinion, where it definitely is a strong effect. Sometimes I think they get used incorrectly. You know, they get flipped too quickly, and a rival is just going to build. Or if they're into the late game, they're past the point of truly mattering. But you know, speaking of your Falling Heel Strike combo, we have a Falling Heel Strike on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
With Peak, and I think this is really cool because Peak is building cards off the top of the deck, and then we could be unflipping some very, very powerful foundations.
So yeah, Peak Universus here. We
One
have
of my favorite
Peak
cards
stacking,
actually,
and
is
I'm with
like
you
military airship.
at the first available opportunity to get their rescue their attack from the dregs of mediocrity. Right, it was at 0 damage after the 9 Titans reduced down. So we pull the trigger on our +4, but our in stage after I'm sacrificed +2, and we also try to fetch out the anti-Titan artillery.
Like to do that to somebody is the best play ever. You're looking at your base down that you've built, you got it randomly, you're like, oh, I got this. And like you go play your first attack, and you're like, okay, now I'll play this, I'll unflip. It's like, oh, there's an airship, pick up the first attack, and they're just like, oh no.
Alright, Falling Heel Strike, getting some nice value off the weapon clash, and then tap the enormous axe for damage. Are we full sending this, or are we
to her advantage? She reminds me a lot of Overhaul, and Overhaul was meta dominant
medium sending? I wonder.
A year, I want to say, but because he got to use his stage as a resource, it's effectively a second hand. He kind of reminds me of that. If you're using cards like Falling Heel Strike, Signal Shot, and the like. And so here we saw Falling Heel Strike unflip Weapon Clash, and then we got to flip Weapon Clash and build a face down. So basically, Falling Heel Strike.
We're fighting over Hitch. We're trying to kill Hitch. Okay.
And this is probably the best foundation in every Peak deck. The Ambition of Irwin Smith. Once per turn, when we blow up a foundation, we get to draw a card. Basically saying on your turn and your rival's turn, you're going to be drawing
3 pocket foundations, or 3 pocket draws out of Peak here.
So that
that's not so. We've got 2
before it ever gets a chance to be used.
pushing limits.
We're gonna play our build Zeeks, and then we're playing.
That's our 9 Titans.
Yeah, that's 9 Titans alt. I'm like, which alt is that one again? We got bots on the board now too. We're good. We're ready to go. We're ready to protect ourselves.
Yeah, it's a really, really strong defensive board for Hunch. A lot of disruption with the double Keikos. We have a reset with the moment of normalcy. The 9 Titans, while they also double one of your stats with the first enhance, I think it's also like -4 damage on defense if you lose stamina. So this is a very strong position, and if Peak's going to break down the wall, it's going to require blowing up a good chunk of their stage and going on string. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a build out here.
Yeah, I think we're just. I wouldn't be surprised either at this point, and we're just going to go into. Do we blink into deadlock?
Build 2 pass?
That would be my first observation here. Would be like, okay, do we need to fear deadlock for some reason? I'd be checking the discard piles, doing the rounds. If I don't see a deadlock threat immediately, I'd be like, okay, we're just going to keep building as deep as possible. Because eventually you want the turn where you're just going.
Right, Rockthrow cannot fetch Hitch back. That's get non-uniques, but we fetch our
we did not have the third 9 Titans
-3 damage.
Darn.
I guess 2 is enough. I mean, I personally feel like the longer this game goes on, the better I'm kind of feeling about Hanj at the moment, because there's so much raw stats that she can give.
That's true, but the problem is, the longer this game goes, are we going to have time breaking 3? That's the one thing that worries me about this, going this giant long game against the aggro deck, where, like, we let Pete go first, in game 3 like 10 minutes ago, we could just win that game. We could see like the numbers just be produced.
Yeah, I think of Peak more as like
Peak flips back and then gets onto her resource generation side.
She's also very, very comfortable in these long games where
which is
she has that -3 speed.
The trade. I'm gonna go double check read Peak.
What just worries me about this game with Peak going long is that I don't see a reset on the board right now. And with these massive stats,
yeah, so you have to transform to get the anti-Titan artillery. So if you want to build, it's a fun little tricky business to navigate.
You know, -3 speed only goes so far when Hanj is saying +8 speed.
Well, right now we got a fresh hit on the board, so we have -4 damage, -4/+4.
And that hitch.
I wonder what the deadlock situation in this Peak deck is going to look like. This is a spot that kind of, do you have risky gamble or not? And I guess obviously it comes down to is Hanji even going to put you to the test? She can build into deadlock or not?
For the powerful on Colossus Swat, if you put for the Echo on Thunder Spirit Barrage, you're still getting some value.
Okay, but they're noticing the spikes in the discard pile. They're like, oh, we got that.
Yeah, Unyielding Destruction, definitely one to be aware of. Hey, I treat my backups as foundations, so I'm in a much better
Jaw Titan's Bite going into the...
And I haven't seen
this is a good one to have when it's gone long like this. But this is the attack that turns every card in your hand into copies of itself, potentially, and also +1s to all of your stuff. Kind of organic scaling.
Manipulations got a Breaker 2 block for Hanj.
Yeah. You could just see the response there. Like the rarely you hit Breaker 2. Good job.
Yeah, because to crack this board, we're going to have to go on a very deep string through double Keiko's Aid. And I'm not sure we can go through double Keiko's Aid and a Breaker 2 block. We definitely have the attacks to do it. We can go Jaw, Trigraph, into Battle Aura, and a Thunder Spear. Oh, and we have the Ripper, so we have a very angry hand, but Hanj has such a good defensive stage.
There's just box plus. It's like every attack is like, all right, we're going to start with -4. I think we're going to decide, okay, we're going to start with the artillery.
Peak Universus artillery tapping some stuff down, trying to pick the to crack open the lane in this giant wall is the
yeah, you can do. In my mind, it's Keiko's or Moment of Normancy.
the assemblage of number is going to be enough to break it open. Just taps
just play
one
the
of
foundation
2
play,
Keikos.
It's going to be a problem for Pete.
Which one's that?
Oh, I have a devastating loss. Like, where's your devastating loss? This,
Sir,
there'd be no
was the
problem.
Frank
There'd be
search
no-
or Frank rescue used earlier, or did I hallucinate that it existed in the first place? I think I might have hallucinated it, or it might have been from a previous game or something.
The severed
There's
head.
clearly not a frantic rescue on the stage right now for.
I feel like this is the power
Hanji.
of unyielding destruction. Because Pete looked through Hanji's discard pile and realized, oh no, unyielding is here, so I am on a clock. I have to push through this wall before unyielding takes down my
We're
entire
gonna
stage.
mash a
And we have
bunch
drawn
of.
3 cards
We're gonna
off
draw
of
all the cards.
double the spam foundation that draws me sad. And so I think we could see ambition get popped here, either take down Moment of Normalcy or
Flip over to
Manipulate.
damage to speed mode.
We drew out another card. We're 2 for 2.
Yeah, this
See?
manipulation is putting in so much work.
Also,
More like the peak of
Yeah,
Jaeger
Pete is getting absolutely put in a cage.
under their left hand.
The thing is, at this point, I want Hanji to
Oh, actually, oh yeah, so that's yeah. There's a last second rescue. That's the set 2 rare foundation that no sells a hit for a momentum. I think that's the nearest card. And then Frantic Rescue is the Gabi shooting a Titan over for saving Kaya from set 3, which is also the top cuts promo from the last regional.
Peak player can say, okay, I didn't deal damage, but at least I took down some defensive resources. But Hanji's playing such good defense without using them that they're just there for future turns. That beast type attack is really funny with 9 Titans. 18 damage to row or something crazy, and then it can go and grab more copies of itself unless you attack into it. So it puts a lot of pressure
They look the
on your
same?
right to attack into it. And I think Peak's
I
probably
don't know.
gonna put on the brakes here, but yeah, we didn't go through any of the defensive resources.
They don't look too. They're not so different as some cards can be, for sure.
So once again, I'm gonna play the game of. Here's
They
another
do be
card
green.
that's got a lot of conversation. That now we've
It's
seen
the power, the curse and blessing of
Has anybody in your playgroup played with Byaku recently?
Joseph has, but I haven't played against him in a little while.
I have this Byaku list right now that just puts it just does this Byaku thing of putting everything to 1. But the ability on
Ooh, yeah, so now
we're gonna remove that attack, and I'm gonna drag your problem. I'm gonna drag my problem.
this feels like a. I'm pausing. This feels like such an archetypal moment. You're watching me on mobile. Let's go. Or So yeah, I see you can't zoom in. I can't zoom in. I could zoom in maybe if I really tried. But I wanted to say, so this is. Yeah, the commentators commented on this, and I just paused to. Yeah, I'm gonna let this develop and try to yap. Let's see. I'm gonna slow it down to 1x rather than. All right, 1x. We'll hit play.
It's so much fun.
This is.
I did
You
play
can,
against.
this, I think this kind of fits in like a. Fits in the shape of like the control aggro versus control matchup,
goes off
and
so
I'm not sure that's even true,
but
but
That's true.
it's certainly sort of a sizing matchup, right? We have
here we have
Peak is small in a certain sense. Peak is capable of winning on turn 2, as we saw in game 1. Hanji is not, and Hanji is playing a lot of card economy things, a lot of things that allow defense without spending cards, without blocking, right? Damage reduction.
Hanj has a very strong defensive board, but
And like sort of,
Hanj can't afford to just
are they called
sit
floodgates
back
in
for
Yu-Gi-Oh? I
Pete's
think,
gonna win.
of like damage resets, where it says if you're very strong, I'm going to bring you back down to earth.
We're sitting at 25 minutes left in the round.
And yeah, Falling Skies is an archetypal like big card. These big long game cards. It's the kind of card that Moment of Rest exists to make feel less certain, certainly. And I think actually, probably certainly in my head, I think an underrated part of Falling Skies is just that it is a pretty cool shift. It is a foundation that says enhance, draw, and attack is a pretty strong card. They don't print very many of those, and it certainly transforms into a foundation that says enhance, add me to your hand, add a copy of Falling Titans to your hand. That's pretty neat in a medium long game. And I think probably Hanji's expecting to win this turn.
Oh, we just pulled a Rock Barrage. So you know what we could do here? We could sack one of these.
Yeah, especially when you're gonna kill Rock Barrage. This can easily turn into a kill, but you know, Peak is a hard target. Peak has a lot of things that manipulate just raw speed and damage numbers, and so that makes it challenging to convert directly to a win there.
Yeah, we're gonna hit for 3
but
damage.
you know, that turn, I think when Peak constructed their deck, they imagined having a hand of, you know, here's my 5-hit string. This is gonna win. This wins every time. You know, they run out of blocks or whatever, and that ran into the reality of this built-up Hanji stage, and that it actually wasn't enough. They needed
for Peak to stop. This is where
more juice. Wow, we see the defensive defensive ambition. So we're stacking our most precious, most valuable foundation
because
to target someone.
Everybody needs a way to stop this.
That's a sign we are certainly flinching. We're certainly nervous about getting killed right now, and
we just see high blocks. That's all we really need right now.
about our position in
We
this
need
game.
enough high blocks to survive this. The
But
barrage.
as commentary did point out, yeah, there is a
Yeah, I think we
definite
could play this thing 4 or 5
concern
times
of
over
time in the round here. That this
and
could end
feel
up being a
pretty
draw if this.
comfortable, honestly, I mean, let's see if it comes down for time
You know,
number
this
3.
is
or
a
if we're happy
in
with
instructional
the
mode. If you're playing a deck like this
I
Hanji
think we
deck,
play the barrage to reset to put one back.
it's
in.
incredibly. It's of paramount. Like I can't express how
Like just play the barrage
essential it is
with a straight
to
face, just be like, all right, barrage,
be able to
give
clearly
me
think
another
about what's
backup,
happening and
then
what's
just
going
play
on
them seven.
and what you need to accomplish, and judge whether or not you can accomplish that. And to like think ahead and to organize your thoughts and to execute your thoughts
We
quickly
got one
with
in the
with
discard
purpose,
There's one
All
there.
right?
We're ready.
There we go.
Because if you can't do
Oh,
that,
and this
you'll
is
have 30 minutes left in the round.
stun
You'll be in a
2
winning position. You'll be
effect. We don't
executing
get
your
the
kill
select in the
turn,
middle. I think we need 4
and
backups for the
15
stun.
minutes will bleed off the clock as you go
This
through
is
the
stun
motions. And you cannot afford to spend 15 minutes
Yeah,
going
we
through the motions on your kill
are
turn because
pushing
you don't
buttons
get
for-
that many increments of 15
like,
minutes in a
we're
round.
just gonna- like, we're
They just
gonna
aren't there.
down.
And
Yeah, if I was Pete,
letting that happen
don't
is how
have a
you
solid answer
turn,
to this,
is how you put
there's
up a
chance
bunch of
it's
draws
gonna
in
be
winnable rounds,
honestly,
and how
because
you
this whole
lose a
combo
bunch of
is gonna
matches
take
1-0.
another 5 to 10 minutes. And I don't
And you
wanna
can avoid
draw.
that with
Draws are-
just
we only have 6
preparation
rounds
and
this year
and better
because it cuts
execution.
top 8. I
And
would
those
not
are
wanna
sort of
draw.
subtle skills,
Yeah.
but
So-
they're precious,
I
right?
mean, I get
They're,
there's a chance like
very
we
important
could just
to
check
have.
straight threes,
and
commit
that's-
out, and
I've
now there's
occasionally
no
thought
winning.
of like that's the thing that separates me
I
from
guess you get
other
it
players
just a
is
little
that
longer,
I
but
can
it's
play
just
control
that
decks that
this
don't
is
get a
gonna
lot of
take
draws.
so much time on the clock.
And obviously that's probably like a little bit self-diminishing to the breadth of my skill set or
Alright.
whatever, but it's
Oh,
a real thing too.
okay. We're just gonna go big here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this
So
is gonna get
Falling
plus 6
Titans,
damage.
it's a crappy 5/5/6. Who needs
and then
that?
can
We
double
have
it.
Titan Pile, baby.
If we
base
choose
10
to
damage,
double
that's
the
pretty sick.
damage and not the speed. I could also see us doing the speed. Is the moment of normalcy ready on peak stage?
It's
or
gonna be
no?
7
It is
speed.
still
I
ready.
guess peak is. Yeah, I should. If I were a better commentator here, I would know all of the cards in peak stage at this point as well. But yeah, we're sending the double tap Titans. We're tapping one for Hanji for 2 speed on the way in, and then we're doubling it up to 14.
Yeah, we're definitely
trying to make
gonna
this
fade out
unblockable. I
the moment of normalcy
Can't
on
imagine
this
it's
attack,
already
I feel like.
lethal.
Yeah, I would just
10,
ask
11,
but
or is
let-
it
let's
probably 12 actually at
put
this
the
point?
pressure
I
on
think Hanji got beat up down to
people,
single
like,
digits.
They have to
I
go
could be
almost
imagining things or
before any like
mismapping game ones back onto this.
There's no other real other line.
Alright, I'm gonna click ahead a little bit. Oh no! That's the wrong button.
Just enhance. You can lose 3.
Alright, that's the top of the
or
round. It's
you
39,
get another
25,
All right, we got some.
14.
We got,
Okay,
we got,
so
we got some
spoilers.
buttons.
Hanji's gonna miss the kill.
and
Alright,
thinks,
second
how can I
Titan.
change
Oh, now we're trying to play the
Second Titan pile
we
checks a 3 on
normalcy
it
our
after all
own-
that,
Our own attack here.
and it's gonna get defended successfully at the cost of some high blocks.
Choose not to. We knew the.
Why was that a face up?
Our own
I'm curious how that got be a face up. I'm with you on top of the stage, on top of the deck. It's been there for a minute. Oh, it was tarot reading. Okay.
Just
Oh, tarot! What a sick card to leave on top of your deck with tarot
I
reading.
mean,
we were fine. Wait a minute. They've been
Would
one
Yeah.
rating.
So I guess I yap at length about how valuable it is to
Yeah.
move fast and to execute your plans and to have. You also have to make sure they're effective plans and that they're not gonna fall apart if you check a 3.
I
or
get
at least-
that we were hesitant to use it because we
Yeah.
needed to pass this check here.
An important thing if you're playing a slower deck like this that you do. Like the reason I build my decks, and I think I've probably talked about this in like every context where I've talked about Hanji or a lot of the other decks I build,
Yeah.
is that you really want to have big enough guns to win games and to actually be able to rely on your guns to win games, even when they're against Peak, and Peak has a turn of 6 cards in hand and a big stage full of speed damage reduce. Going over the top of people's defenses.
That could have gone a lot worse.
If you're going to try to OTK them,
Yeah,
you have to be
I
able to
went
go
from saying
all the
maybe
way over the top and
think
actually
about
OTK them, even when they're
to,
resisting
like,
very well.
Hans kind
Um,
of fumbled it. And I'm not saying that there was a guaranteed lethal line there, but it felt like if we replay that turn, 9 times out of 10 it's finding lethal. And
Yeah.
Pete just kind of managed to squeak out a line where they lived.
Alright, back to 2x.
And now this is almost assuredly over. 1 Edun and 1 Keikos is not going to stop what's happening.
Actually, yeah, I really like what David said of that. That Hanji fumbled that turn, and that's not necessarily that. I like especially the framing of specifically Hanji fumbled the turn. It wasn't that BJ fumbled the turn. It's that Hanji fumbled the turn. Right, the conglomeration of the player and the particular control checks and the particular factors outside of their control as well as within their control had a winning position and converted it, and it fell off, right? Some of that was, there were some 3 checks in there, I know. Those can happen. You can try to plan around those. It's sort of the complex soup of variance and probability that make up Universus. Kind of the equal and opposite of every time you flip a beast sign attacks off the top with Zeke's manipulations, you're kind of in karmic debt to the universe, and the universe is going to pay you back with the 3 checks later, with the 2 checks, with the 1 checks, whatever. Or with just the incredible swings of variance of you're going to draw the worst hand at the worst possible time type stuff. And yeah, I like the way you put it, that it was a fumble. 9 times out of 10, you'd win that game, whether with better choices or better sequencing or better control checks. But in the, you're only 100% to win when your opponent scoops their cards up, when your opponent shakes your hand and says, "Good game, you win." Until then, it's not 100%, and there's always it's just an increasingly elaborate series of edge cases to reach the point where you miss the kill. But we'll see. Here it's going to be can peak count to 30 through these relatively limited defenses.
Yeah.
And we're gonna.
Breaker active and.
Yeah. Now Hans is not completely dead because Hans was at like 30 something health before this turn. So we have a moment of normalcy. We can reset one thing. We have an Eden box. We can reset a second thing.
It's very surprising to me to Breaker 2 the lead here. I guess it's going to be you might pull the trigger because it's relatively slow, and you're not going to get the opportunity if peak starts full sending later. But the Breaker 2 doesn't do very much.
Well, that's a 1 on a 6.
I think Hans might have just survived. Okay, this game, like, I'm just getting proved wrong over and over. Like, oh yeah, Peak's dead, Peak lives, Hans is dead, Hans lives. Like, this is some really good interaction and back and forth. I'm having a lot of fun.
Alright, yeah, Breaker 4 into that giant stage. It does not nothing. It's more than nothing. And I guess, yeah, the fluctuations of this situation do include that anti-Titan artillery can tap down some peaks of Hanji's interaction. So Breaker killing the lead is your only opportunity to necessarily get that off before some of yourself will get tapped. Yeah, it's not over until it's over, like I was just saying, and that's true for Peak as well. It's going to be potentially a handful of Jaw Titans fights, if not even better cards. They're all going to be wearing all these huge piles of stats. Hanji's going to have 2 resets available. That's certainly more than nothing. And a healthy 30-odd life total. But the bigger picture, yeah, like Hanji's chances to win this match, I think, are approaching 0. You're playing for 2 outcomes until you're not. Yeah, you're playing to win or draw. At this point, they're playing to hoping to survive this turn and then.
Oh, we're gonna get extra builds here. And we can get powerful. Yeah, it says powerful 4 on it, so we can get this.
We're gonna make something here.
Powerful 4 Colossus SWAT is a factor of that card I've underrated in my own head for sure. And, it's hard to reliably plan on when you'll have momentum these days. People are very good at blocking. They want to.
Peak has now made it to 8 between himself and Anti-Titan. We can add another 8 damage, but all we're really doing is fading out the
Mill 2.
resets if we do that.
Interesting. We're gonna press all the buttons here. Alright, so we're gonna go 16.
Yeah, I have to imagine something gets used here to take it back.
I think it's box. I think box is because that's the one that protects your resource. It protects your damage. You might need to. There might be a line where it's like it's easier to block something than to and just use damage. Oh, we're photons. Okay. Heads up.
Yeah, I love a Botan's coaching. Like, because our rival didn't immediately press the reset, like, I guess there's 2 cards in hand, but I love a Botan's coaching when there's 1 card in hand that draws from the block.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic of the commentators were just discussing of supposing you're going to reset the damage of this. Would you prefer to use Item Box or Moment of Normalcy? And I lean Moment of Normalcy. I imagine that my foundations are relatively targetable, relatively vulnerable to getting hit with loss of consciousness, etc. Getting stunned.
I mean, having a 0 low blocking hand, and we checked the 5 on. If we had checked a 3 on that, it would have been so bad.
And we didn't need to use either of our.
Alright, the hot 0 low breaker, yeah. Or not it's not a breaker block, I guess. The hot 0 low, defending the Colossus SWAT without using any of these damage resets on board. Yeah, Hanji putting up a very good fight to stay alive here. But the big picture, I guess there's a universe where even Peak is certainly not, I think, playing to time out at this point, but that's on the radar, with 9 minutes left. Conceivably there could be sequences of this attack turn where players playing very slowly might actually burn 9 or 10 minutes of clock, I think, which ballpark was about how long Hanji took last turn, though maybe with slightly more moving pieces even than, you know, all these builds and ins and outs of the stage. Yeah, normalcy bringing this back down to 5. Did he tap back up to 7, or is it staying at 5? 13. It's still a two-hit scenario with not a big stage left for Peak. Looks like 3 foundations ready. Can you pass?
Oh.
Okay, it's gonna build.
Yeah, but I feel we took so much time off the clock. Now the question is, without a sculpt, are we going to be able to kill here?
We lost
Yeah, Han's definitely trying to.
That's not good. Yeah,
What just happened?
Yeah, this will be the worst drawing into 6 foundations moment. It didn't? Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, Resurrection. Okay,
That's
yeah,
an immediate, immediately pick up the cards.
Bravo.
All right, you got it.
Go next.
Let's shuffle up and maybe I can do
Yeah, Peak is the one playing for a turn 2 win.
This Hanj deck is playing, even though it's the Battle for Humanity Hanj, there's so many Attack on Titan Apocalypse cards in here that took this character to the next level. Resurrected Titans, if you don't know at home, you can search your deck.
That was a cool game. That was good.
Want, and then you can play it.
Good back and forth.
Difficulty from the Resurrected Titans. So Resurrected is like an 8 diff, but it effectively
not too mid-range soupy. I think we got a little mid-range soupy at times,
so
but
in this instance, we could say, I'm gonna go grab
I think
Hanji, play it. It's a throw, double damage. And so that's why even if we could block the Resurrected
Alright,
Titans,
I think I'm gonna take a bio break here.
and that's why
We're gonna leave the stream running and just like mute everything, I guess. That's probably what makes sense.
Oh, Hanj is trying to cycle. I don't know if we
We're
have
gonna
time for that.
pause, for mute. Alright, let's make sure that's unmuted. Look over this. That's supposed to be like that. Okay.
Oh, I see. We're grabbing the 9 Titans. That makes much more sense.
Yeah, like we're not sideboarded. We're trying to go get our. We gotta get our card back.
Alright, is there a universe where Hanji could win? There easily is. Just has to check perfect and Peak, get too spicy trying to go for a kill, and then like...
Yeah, the optimal hand here for a turn 2 for Peak would be like Colossus Swat. I guess Dual Needle Lunge, double Colossus Swat, and a Battle Aura, or the Thunder Spear Barrage. Like that's what we're gonna need to find here. Because Hanj is a character like they had a really good defensive setup, but it took time to get there. Hanj is definitely open early.
Yeah, Hanj is in turn 2. Hanj just needs to protect with turn 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of hyping myself up that Hanji could
Ooh, we got it.
spike
Technically
a...
a 6 foundation build there.
This just
Playing teaming, wow.
That puts Hanj in such a bad spot for sequencing for now, because now they can't play 3 diffs safely.
Yep. we have normalcy. Resty now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
This is very not
pair
drawn.
of threes
Better
on the
if we get
build.
turn 2 kill here. With the right draw, it's just staged perfectly.
I see
There's
SWAT.
the SWAT.
Oh,
Have you SWAT commit your
I-
normal stacks?
with the axe.
Yeah, Pete is in business.
Jeez.
This could definitely be a turn 2 kill.
Oh, this is gonna get real. I always see. I'm only catching quick glimpses of the hand. And I've seen the Ripper arrives are the other attack I can verify from the hand. But we're about to go
Yeah.
set it up before.
Something else too. I'm a little surprised that we didn't blow up for damage with Pete.
Yeah.
Just a little surprised that because like that 2 damage could matter here in getting a kill, and we had the enormous axe committed. So, but
we have 2 more attacks. All right, we got lines.
yeah, between ambition and hate damage, it was like we were an 8-hander, and we get to selectively seal the moment of normalcy. Oh, and a dual needle line. Yeah, we got
Holy
Battle Aura, dual needle.
shit! Look at his hand.
I imagine we go dual needle here next.
Yeah, I think that's where with this build we want to get.
Yeah, one thing
We're doing the
I think about a little bit
Punch
is
can get one block in. Can the other 3 attacks kill?
when there's 3 minutes on the clock, you can kind of slow down. You can kind of chill.
I feel like a 3 is not the end of the world here. Like I don't think
When you're gonna make it, when you're doing an attack something like this, right? I think you're not.
Damage. We effectively get to ready foundation.
The reason you play fast ultimately is in order to the selfish reason you play fast is in order to give yourself the best chance to have another turn. And at 2 minutes, when you're going to be doing an attack string, your attack string is going to take 2 minutes. And you can kind of, when time is called, obviously you just relax. You say, okay, we have until overtime to finish this. You still want to play within reason, but you can relax a little bit. You can think, yeah, within reason, I guess, all of this. But anyway.
Accidentally built a ready foundation using weapon flash, not from the. It's like Twitch chat is talking a little bit about that. I completely missed it over here, but
They're moving at a breakneck pace here.
yeah, both players are not taking time. Oh, he built it. You know what I'm saying? That is time. Time has just been called in the round, so it's a turn 2 kill or never. Down to 18 health. A little surprised if weapon flash got through, then I'm feeling really good as Peak. But another 3 check puts us in the danger zone of probably only being able to pass 1 more attack. The Battle Aura release gets to 13 damage though. So if we can get the Ripper.
Oh, I hadn't thought about Ripper Arrives specifically getting to play with Peak, getting at both numbers. That's pretty cool. +2/+2 to the next. On top of all the other miscellaneous junk that it does. That's neat. Appreciate it.
He's like,
The reasons I'm glad to have watched this stream is just think of the little angles that kind of cross my mind before.
It's just check a 5 on the Battle Aura and we win the game. Yeah, this Battle Aura is going to be for game.
5,
4, that's good enough.
4, 5, 6, that's all I needed.
Yep, there is no chance. Unless a
Yeah,
hand trap
7
comes
speed,
down,
plenty
but
of
I'm
damage.
playing hand traps. This should just be game. It was all set up perfectly. Hans just needed to get 1 block over the course of that entire turn, and they couldn't find it.
8, 9, 10, 11, then one more for safety.
I think they forgot him. No, they got him.
Yeah. Ooh, we got there.
Wow.
I was
So
like, how are we getting there?
hypothetically,
That's
if
why I
Hanji had
had
had a 0 block
there
that had been
was a
7 speed with 1 ready,
Turn 2
it's
kill by
passable,
Pete,
but it
everything
needs
was
to be
set up.
exactly
You could have asked for
a
weapon
0.
flash, weapon flash, Ambition of Irwin.
And I guess you wouldn't have
and
gotten that deep in the
on
turn
Han's side, you could have asked for
if you had that
Hans just
available.
wants to be the character, like the best building character. Especially going second,
Man.
and everything just kind of went wrong there.
Yeah, that's,
Turn
I mean,
2.
that's the situation that happens. BJ will sink down to 1-1, which
I think I'm
they'll come back to go back and
my personal preferences are, I think I've kind of ruled out, for my own personal preferences, I've ruled out Colossus SWAT as a card I'm interested in playing in Peak. I think it's a little bit too dependent on optimism towards drawing those kinds of hands on turn 2. It's pretty stinky when it's your only attack in hand. It's pretty stinky when it's 1 of 2 attacks in your hand. You're just, I mean, maybe that's actually even overstating it, because it is a powerful 4, 5 speed, pretty trivially 8 speed low attack with powerful 4. That's a good resume, I guess. Yeah, maybe I should consider that. I guess I don't need to be, just keep it in mind. It's probably the right way to do it. Anyway, let's go to the next round. I said I was going to go to the bathroom and think about what that matchup means for the game. I think I kind of talked a little bit about sort of the sizing of the matchup. I guess it's a continuous through line. I think that makes it makes a sensible lane, right? We saw Peak built the wide stage. Peak gives you automatically, everyone who plays Peak gets anti-Titan artillery in their deck, except in limited, I guess, or in edge cases we're not going to talk about. Everyone gets access to that resource, and that resource lets you commit one of your opponent's cards. And then also, almost for free, everyone's going to play Loss of Consciousness. And these let you pick apart your opponent's stage. And that's, I think, one of the one of the fundamental pieces of Universus I really like is this kind of these interactive pieces that you dance with your opponent, and that you choose which bricks in their wall you want to try to kick out, and just dynamically adjust. Are you trying to attack their card economy with the Zeke? Are you going after their resets? Are you going after their cards like Keiko's Aid or Frantic Rescue? And then emerging from that, you can have bluff situations where you tap out their one thing to make them think that you have another kind of thing. There's all kinds of great stuff that can emerge out of that. And Peak is Peak Universus because everyone who plays Peak is going to have at least a little bit of that good stuff every time, just for the price of entry. And then she's so open-ended about what you can do after that point. How controlling do you want to be? How big do you want to be? I guess really is the spectrum. Do you want to be open to this possibility of turn 2 kills at the cost of potentially having more redundancy or more tools in a late game, in a long game, or more defensive tools? Or are you just going to lean on your fundamentals of, I'm going to have a lot of plus and minus speed, I'm going to build a lot of foundations, and then transmute those foundations into whatever resources necessary at the particular moments? How many anti-tank artilleries are you even going to play? If your opponent plays Asset Hate, are you going to be able to get that back online? Or if you check the first one at the wrong time, I'm pretty sure she can only search her deck, right? We'll if you're over here, yeah, search your deck for one card of anti-tank artillery and build it. If you draw it early, I think the wisdom is typically you want to play 2, and that seems pretty obvious. Seems like a very sensible number. But then if you check 1, if you draw 1, you still have the 1 left in the deck to fetch out. But then what if your opponent has Asset Hate for it now? Is that going to take it offline? I really have a crush on Peak with United Front that depends on having that asset in play and then gives you this long-term, this very cheap long-term card economy. You're paying 2 difficulty to get back. United Front lets you draw a card and then stack the remaining 2 of the top. You get a choice of your top 3 cards. You put 1 in your hand, you leave the other 2 on top. So now you have 2 checks that are scouted out in advance. Super powerful effect. How do you want to use it? That's the thing. Anyway, let's talk about a very different matchup.
A lot of those tricks. Being able to take Carson's hand, put them in face down, pretending that they are 2 difficulty, foundations, sneaking moves in, whether they be higher difficulty than Unfamiliar or using some really potent power release. But the other side, we got Zachary C on Chaos Belgian, kind of terror of the bit of the old dog and the new trick.
I suppose after
the this current meta.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We saw one Devil Jin
compression artifacts.
I suppose after the Aerial Goblin, or after the errata to Devil Jin happened, but he really didn't lose any of his offensive firepower. And Armin doesn't really have a lot of defense.
3 phase sounds? What are you building,
here
brother?
in this Although Armin does get to be building in. Armin's one of the most exciting deck building characters in my opinion. Like here we have 3 face downs. Those could all be outwit cards, and Devil Jin just stumbled right into them.
Look at all the attacks.
Yeah, we have no idea what they could do.
We could have mulliganed a bad foundation hand into another bad foundation hand and taken it. But that's just like, that's the power. But it looks like we've got Yelena's Machination, one of the coolest outwit cards that they have ever made. 3 difficulty, response outwit, so unflip, commit. This is after attack play, -2 speed, and then we draw a card. It says, hey, my hand size not 7, but a little bit bigger. As well as buying time.
That does not work, but that's so cool.
Right off the bat. Very, very cool. Yeah, buying time is you can look at the top of your deck.
Alright, yeah. So, yeah, important situation. Let me make sure this is not going to screw up my streams. We're going to do some impromptu rules explainer. Why we just cheated. That's probably not a good thing to dock myself with. Oh well. Alright, we use the response on buying time. It's, new tab. Outwit, after your rival attacks, look your top card, discard a card, build your top card face down. We did that with Mikasa and her admission. She's a dope 1/6. New tab. Scroll in. Oh, I am a this is totally legal. That's why we look things up. Okay, come on. This is discarding the combat phase, which is kind of surprising. Is that mechanically important to anything but this? Did we have? Oh no, of course it's for Mikasa, right? Yeah. So Mikasa, just like Armin's thing. Where is Mikasa? Okay, there she is. Yeah, response after you attack, as opposed to your rival attacks. We discard a card, we clear a card, blah blah blah. This is meant to work with Mikasa, so Mikasa discards it in response to attacking with herself. I thought this was during the enhanced step, which would mean you can't respond to it during that after you played response window or game event. We learned a thing. Oh, it's the finals tab. Okay, let's go back here.
build the top card of your deck face down. So Yelena, we got your draw card, and then
Nifty!
we
We
use our
learned
card to
something
build the top card.
today.
Pretty cool 2-card combo there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the tactics are very, very good, especially with how important it's going to be with the committing and freezing that Devil Jin has on this Chimera Kraken. Checking a 5 on it to start a turn. And as we know, only 3 foundations in this Devil Jin's stage, but that is more than enough
Dude,
to accidentally
I
find the 31 health.
kinda love-
especially if we keep committing our foundations.
I undersold my. I underinvested in Armin's Outwits. Like the buying time plus the Elena stuff. That's dope as hell.
Devil Jin doesn't know which one's the best card to commit and freeze. Are you allowed to target a specific face down, or does your opponent get to choose which face down if you choose face down? Kind of
well, it says that you get to pick. Select,
right, but you get to pick a selective face down. Like, can you try and keep track of your rivals' face downs? You know where they put what?
100%. And for the rules of the game, the way it's handled is if a card is was face up at one point or is built in face down or whatever, you have to keep that separate. Your rival's allowed to know which one of those was flipped up and then down or whatever until the turn cycle happens, and then it kind of gets lost in the fray. You can shuffle back your face downs, but if you have a flipped then unflipped, it is tracked, so you are allowed to know. So if there's any way for us to, I don't know, flip a foundation and then we take a hit and re-ready it somehow or some way, it would indeed be tracked. And so from here, Mega Burst coming in, checking a team in the attack Titan, kind of saving up our Devil Jin 1 per turn, adding this team in the attack Titan in the card pool, and then counting the number of attacks in the card pool. It does not count the attack currently played. That one's not in the card pool yet, but going from a 3 check now to a 5 check. And
we hustled some extra foundations.
Hits down 22, but I will say a lot of control, a lot of restraint over here on the Devil Jin side, not using our ability to add cards into our card pool for bonuses.
It was also, we had a walk.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we didn't play the walk.
Cards into our card pool for say a lot of control, a lot of restraint over here on the Devil Jin side, not using our ability to add cards
Discuss Foundation
into our card pool for bonuses.
It was also, we had a walk.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we didn't play the walk the dog too. So many players would see, hey, it's on a 4 now. I guess it would be on a 7. I guess you took a 3 there. You could still pass it, but yeah, it was some restraint. I mean, it would have been free damage.
Curious.
It would have been a free 10 damage if we clogged our card pool with it too. But we got some hits in and we got to build, because if you do start adding attacks in your card pool, you don't get that build.
And that's the entire the thing that Devil Jin wants to do, right? He wants to play out these pretty oppressive offensive strings, but the fact that Zachary here has this self-control just says that on this next turn, you better back up.
Levi's Rampage.
He's going to come out swinging. Another rebuild here on Joffrey's side.
Don't believe in that one at all, to be honest. That seems wild. I've never had him win from this character.
Like the Attack Titan's Haymaker.
Yeah, it was a pretty good build to get the 2 def that flips your outwits. Now we have a way to flip whichever of those outwits that we would like to have. And once again, we see the combo here.
The pair again? The Yelena plus buying time? Crazy.
So I really like that combo there of draw a card and then I can discard a card to go ahead and build, because we are in transformation. We have enough foundations to transform now, although it won't be until our next end phase. And like you said, it's gonna be kind of hard living until then.
Yeah, that's the thing that I would be nervous about, right? Like this Haymaker says stun 2, we just affect
end phase, and like you said, it's gonna be kind of hard living until then.
Yeah, that's the thing that I would.
Okay, I'm almost certain one of those was a bleak.
Nervous about, right? Like this Haymaker
bleak
says
commentary,
stun 2, we just
whatever,
effectively stun to
that
ourselves.
makes your opponent discard a card if we draw a
the
card.
stage that we curated and made
So
nice and
yet
healthy.
another
On the very
outlet.
first
So
attack
he's
of
just
Devil
like
Jin, they're all
built
sideways.
only
They're all
exclusively
sideways.
outwit
I was
face down.
so
That's
afraid
dope.
to accidentally melt here. 22 is not a very high number for Devil Jin to go to, especially with, as it looks like we are now adding cards in, showcasing that Devil Jin offense. Add a card from discard, add attack from discard pile to your card pool, plus 1 damage for every attack in your card pool. This Haymaker's not swinging for 5, it's now swinging for 7, and snowball even further after that.
Yeah, and at any point we can use that Kraken for +2 speed. We've got a couple momentum. If we have a powerful attack, which we saw to walk the dog. I mean, that's the other downside of using his outwit effects. We have put walk the dog online very, very early, and we saw that the Devil Jin was holding one. I imagine they're still having it in hand. It'll probably be the next attack, in all honesty.
True. I mean, it makes sense, right? Walk the dog getting minus difficulty for each good foundation. Playing a 4 difficulty here feels very, very good. But I will say, Irwin's Bruise, as the only face-up ready card over on Armin's side, says flip a foundation. This deck is -1 speed or +1 damage, resetting our face-down, or excuse me, our face-up outlet cards to be used on the next time. But it looks like, wow, very cool heads-up play.
Welcome to Spaceland, it is!
Re-readying some face-down, saying, hey, the stun didn't necessarily matter. Nice and slow, and I will be trying to go for this block. Looking like a
never imagined
7 here. We're just gonna take it down to
so the walk the dog is on a
15.
5. Yeah, walk the dog's on a 5 now. Okay, Blue Flame Torment coming in. On a 7, check a 5. Yeah, Welcome to Spaceland is so cool in this deck. This, like, I'm gonna make things unblockable, and they're gonna have +5 damage. And I'm re-writing all of my outwit cards.
Any 3 outwits, holy crap.
I have not seen that combination before.
I think the most important thing, I think we're gonna see it here, is it actually just like lets us reset our outwit cards.
Oh,
we used the actions for -2 speed draw card. We used the buying time. We flipped both of those over with a combination of Armin's ability plus the.
I titled this
and now we
Peak
just
Universus because
reuse them again. Hey, we're doing it one more time. So trading a card in our hand for now more cards on the board and then -speed. But again, we're doing a lot of manipulation of our board, but we have not.
We're pitching wish hards to fuel these. Oh my god!
I'm starting to sweat for little Armin here. If it doesn't end up working out.
Yeah, because Mega Burst says you can't just wait.
Bro, this guy is accomplishing so many Brobergs. This is I feel self-conscious about just using that unironically, but this man is moving so many cards amongst so many zones for so many marginal advantages. That is what we are here for. We are checking 6s on Blue Flame Torments too. Oh my god. But can we +1 our way out of Devil Jin 600 damage attack strings in 5 checks so far?
Yeah.
This man's got a lot of extra ready resources.
blocking with the
Wide swinging blow.
Wide
Yep.
swinging
Yep.
blow. What a cool card.
That is the sickest Titan attack to double dip
And
on
this is your
with
number one,
Command the Founder, for instance.
Space Land, welcome to Spaceland target, right? This card,
Right.
5/3, 5 low for 3, says Blitz. You may flip one foundation stack, it's plus 1 damage for each of your
Love
raid face
this
down foundations,
Spaceland
period.
too.
What your filter is, welcome to is a first enhance, and so we don't get a chance to do the plus 5 damage on the Colossus Titan side. But this one is a Blitz. We get to use the Blitz, give a bunch of extra stats, and then slam for 9, 10, 11, 12, 20 damage, wide swinging blow.
Blitz plus first enhance combos are kind of my favorite thing right now. I'm really enjoying. Welcome to Spaceland on this big blitz. I'm enjoying
the walk the dog with double momentum, and we can get the 2 speed from Kraken. I'm not seeing any sort of hand trap on
the
Armin's
9
side.
Titans
I don't know what they have. You know, they
plus
might have that.
Titan pile we saw
They might have
last
some sort of outwit
round.
ability that keeps them alive here. Okay, they're gonna do bleak commentary, force Devil Jin to discard one, another one. Okay, force him to discard 2. I don't think that matters because I think Armin's dead here, but maybe they have an out.
I mean, if there is a trick somehow, one of the big detriments from a 5-hander is, you know, lack of cards.
Yeah, you know, there are that's exactly right, Aziels.
Somehow this walk the dog does not end up in the game,
If we're not
might be enough to, if not, try and finish the game.
jerking off about plus ones all over the place.
Up to like a 17 damage walk
You
the
know,
dog.
what else are we doing? Well, the other thing we're doing is putting 50 damage on our card pool on turn 2. This is turn 3. This is turn 3. You deserve to get killed on turn 3. This is
It was just a little difficult for Armin to set up in time. It definitely feels like a character that wants
you
to
push
set
your
up. He was
buttons,
doing a lot of cool
you move your cards
things, but
around,
has to not
and
die
it
in the
came up
process.
short.
We
That
didn't
is
really see- we didn't
the
really see
truest
strong
experience,
turn
really.
2
Your
defense
opponent's playing a
cards
good
next to
deck,
that.
and you are not entitled to
Yeah,
beat
I
them
think that
when
is a-
their stuff
we
is good
saw
and pops off.
This Armin deck do the thing that it wanted to do, right? Which is play a bunch of cool outwit cards.
Well, how many
play a bunch of
attacks
cards,
did he
build a bunch of
draw
cards,
that
Very, very
game?
efficient at it. Every time it played one of its cool outwit tricks, it was just committing more resources. And that's, you know, Devil Jin does not give speed. He facilitates his damage by having my rival commit a bunch of extra moves. Look at Kraken, look at Attack on Daymaker. And so if Armin is actively helping Devil Jin accomplish this goal, I'm sure Devil Jin is not gonna look this gift committal in the mouth for sure. And so although Armin was doing a bunch of cool things, Devil Jin stuck to the game plan of I'm just gonna see how many moves you can deal with. And the answer was we blocked a singular attack over on Armin's side. The game changes vastly if we take and block a second move because we left some foundations ready instead of doing our cool outwit thing. I think some adaptations can have to happen on Joffrey's side in order to squeak out game 2.
Yeah, and there are some cool moves that are gonna be like Runaway is a neat action where we could build it as a foundation in Armin, so it doesn't, you know, we can run a very high action ratio in Armin, and a Runaway there would have saved us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very, very apt point. There's a very easy way for, I mean, the Order of the Fire Symbol have plenty of disruption pieces available to us. The question is can we find them, as well as do we find them at the right time? I mean, there's a ton of ideas here. But Armin going first in this match, I think is going to be really important. As you said, setting up is what matters. And his static is, because it's a static, playable commit. So if we do happen to have a bit of an off-kilter hand, there's so many times where I take and I draw my cards. They're not quite good enough. I mulligan them away into 3 foundations, 3 attacks. Well, I'm only allowed to play 3 of these cards in a regular character. But Armin says I can take one of those attacks and place it face down as a 2 diff, and then we are still ready to play the game. And it looks like that's might be what we're doing here as we instantly start the first one of the game. It's going to be face down.
Yeah, small detail, responding to commentary. You actually cannot play Runaway with Spaceland in your deck. We are Fire Symbol, and Runaway is Order Symbol. Those are not compatible, but...
What's the cool thing? What's the surprise that's going to be the trap card that is played from the stage? But Devil Jin looks like building back out as well. Things like History's Greatest Monster and Horrifying Realization, both incredibly aggressive flow pieces of History's Greatest Monster becoming additional foundations, Horrifying Realization getting a little bit of card draw, maybe a little more that committal we talked about from game 1. But man, a build 5.
Contemplating the 6 build.
He says yes. He says I know you cannot kill me, and we passed it. A build 6, and we said, hey, Armin, you're not so colossal yet. I have 35 health. I'm not afraid of you in the slightest.
Goodness
I
gracious.
love how greedy this play is. I love it.
That was really greedy because on the elasticity on the 4th foundation, if we took a 3 there, we couldn't pass it. And so if we
Alright,
just
so
held the
none of these
elasticity,
draw
we could
cards
just
on
build
defense,
2.
right?
We had a guaranteed build 5, but we risked the possible build 3 just to get the build 6.
Alright, I guess Armin's face on for all outwits. They're no...
Add the card in to our card, we check not a 3 but a 4, commit Devil Jin, and have an additional
Jesus,
card in our hand.
this man's playing...
Utilize said elasticity.
This man is
as we go out
playing...
last, 0 on a 4, 0 on a 5.
Setting the
So
record
there's
straight.
almost
We are
1% that's
setting
like taking himself
the
over.
record
Man, I checked a
gaming.
little worse here. It's like at least have a card in my hand.
I did forget that we are Devil Jin.
Yeah,
And we can use it. We're
we
ready
can.
going first on going second.
Discard a card, -1 damage. I build Armin, I see... I do not see the capacity to draw enough cards to fuel this. We got a little bit of Yelena's machinations. Some bleak commentary. Oh man, bleak commentary. Horrifying realizations. Defensively here is a funny trick. You know, mind rot you a little
After
bit.
you draw that card, after you discard the redraw, you just lost it again. Holy cow.
Some Order Chaos characters exist who do that on offense. That's really funny.
The answer is going to be a walk.
You know, it's funny with Armin and Botan's coaching off the Order symbol.
I believe we had -1 to that check, so I think we do owe a foundation.
Yeah, we will see if the judge catches that. But Armin is drawing back up. We're still not in transformation range, but we're doing so much better than the last game. We can transform on our next turn. This Armin is very, very slow to transform. Probably, maybe the slowest transformation character.
True, yeah, slow and steady is trying to win the race. But, you know, I do like the swing here. Besiege, very attack type haymaker shape like we've already seen in this match. But instead of, you're not allowed to block with weenies, now you have to block with the bad
Yeah,
cards.
flip
Only
my
3
back,
printed block
flip
modifiers are
my-
available for this one. 3 min for 4, with Armin saying it's a 3 min for 6. And if this hits, I get to take and unflip one of my cool foundations, which
Flip my
Besiege is,
outwit,
pretty
it's very
good to,
fun.
it's pretty good for blocking. Pretty good at laning hits, excuse me, not being blocked. It looks like that is the case as we take a peek here, dropping down to 29 for Devil Jin, unflipping one of our
What's
pieces.
our
What tools
spicy
that we snuck down
unflip?
there. I'm unsure what we did flip, but I think it's just we flipped the
Oh,
commentary, just unflip
flip the
commentary
back up,
once again.
back
It's like
face up,
taking our
so
outputs,
these-
taking a little bit longer. From there, Titanic
Yeah,
comment
bummer.
comes in after you damage from a black move.
We gotta have them
building in
all
a
be face down?
committed. foundation, and then a second besiege coming in. Hey, you didn't block the first one. Let's see if you're gonna block the second one. Was it just a hand combat trigger that we wanted, or did you just not have the correct block modifiers in hand?
Yeah, these could just be very, very free moves here, and free flips and unflips. 6 damage base because we add the +2. With Armin, we're getting in some pretty solid chip damage, and even though it takes us a while to transform, Devil Jin does put us on a clock, so getting this chip damage in, getting Devil Jin down to 23 is very, very important. Let's see if we respond to unflip. We probably won't if all of those are outwits.
Well, I think we have to unflip. Am I misremembering the character? I think if you flip, you must unflip.
Oh, you're right. It is not a choice. He has to unflip. Yeah.
If it deals damage, unflip one foundation.
What? Could be in your hand. You wouldn't want to build
so
face down here.
He had to flip a, and he can always flip it as his first enhance on defense. Flip one foundation, your non-throw attack is +2 damage. So the effect is nothing, but you can still pay the cost of flipping. It's not a big deal.
All right. Is Devil Jin just like full bricking out attacks now?
So from here, 31 on Armin's side, 23 on Devil Jin's.
Taking a peek.
Way more foundations to manage over on Devil Jin's side, and one of, if not my favorite foundation in the entire deck. Let's talk as Devil Jin builds here about exam strategy. Exam strategy: enhance, destroy. This attack, or your attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each attack currently in your card pool. If you thought the Devil Jin damage comp was good, imagine us doing it with the extra speed on top of it as well. An incredible piece.
Yes, into deadlock. Easy game.
That has to feel
Cardinal
bad.
deadlock
We ran
is
into some
pretty
problems
limp, I think.
We either pulled 0 attacks or only 1, and this game is going very differently than game 1. We're kind of gifting. We are gifting Armin some extra turns
Wait 1 second.
here to build up and get the transformation.
My arrow button.
Where we
An incredible piece we played.
This man. So Armin last turn played besiege, pass.
that has to feel a little bad. We ran into some 5 hand size problems though, where
He
we
flips
pulled
some
0
cards.
attacks or only 1, and this game is
He
going
draws
very differently than game
2.
1. We're kind of
No
gifting-
review step.
We are gifting Armin
What is happening?
some extra turns here to build up and get the transformation.
But with that said, I mean, if we cannot finish our food, and hey, as much as I love Besiege, I don't know if printed 4 damage and make it 6 Besiege is going to be the thing that gets done. If we do not finish our food, there's not a string that Devil Jin can't find and finish. And so 31 will not be hard. But if you are out there, if you are an Armin fan, we need to weather the storm probably 1, if not 2 more times, unless the hand is just good enough to make it happen.
Yeah, or if we have something that builds in his attack lineup. Yeah, he's saying you gotta flip those momentum face down. Not the biggest deal, but those are not face up momentum abilities. Besiege is strong enough as
have
is.
it.
True,
Building
true.
deep
Look at
in
Feral Shriek
deadlock.
coming in now. Card filter while it's on the board, but a build 1 pass. The question is do we transform here? The answer is no. We care way
Can
more
he
about flipping
transform? I don't think he
Well,
can.
we can't. It's at the start of the end phase.
Did we not have the 8 to begin with?
No, he was at 7.
Oh,
He needed
my
an
goodness.
attack that built a foundation. Yeah, so it's going to be at least
Dang.
2 more turns before we see the +5 damage from Armin coming in, and I feel like we're really going to want to win on our next turn. I mean, Devil Jin's in a spot where he can, if he draws gas, he can really
This
push
is
here.
it. Been
Yeah, every card in his hand is a very possible play. It looks like we're opening with the most expensive card we possibly could. Heighten Armbar, 5 high for 5 with it. Again, that's stun 2. We talked about the whole match. Because it says every attack in your card pool, including this one, gets 2
Did you
free damage. A little
draw
extra for adding in on top of
off
it.
Feral Shriek for-
And yeah, we've got the foundations to pay for it. So much
I think
potential.
he just
we got
like
this turn.
raw drew a
My question
card
is,
off Feral
do you
Shriek,
smell blood
so
water?
that's
Is this a lethal line? If you were
slightly
seeing the boss
criminal,
as Armin,
but
would you be
okay.
sweating right now?
No, because he let the
And
arm
he
bar.
did discard a card shortly afterward to Vine Con,
I
but
guess-
If not first.
That's true. I
I
mean,
might
if
have missed
you
it.
draw-
You might
at
have
some point,
discarded
it's
the
also
exile
really
immediately. That might have been the case.
It's just, yeah, I guess my mind kind of zoned out there for a little bit because I'm thinking, well, armbar, I want to add it to the discard piles, but you got to play what you draw. I guess that's the deck building cost of running an attack like armbar, but we have so many foundations that it doesn't matter too much.
Totally agree. Yeah, we were able to check a 5, commit the 2, and of course these are 2 cards that do re-ready themselves if you happen to have it. And boom, it's armbar, second armbar being added in like you wanted. So now not only do we have the Devil Jin plus damage on all our moves, we've now got +4 damage on every
That's
single
crazy.
move.
He
for the
put a
rest
set
of
in
this
armbar
turn.
in his card pool, so he can change his armbar to high zone to make it hard to
Instantly,
block.
if
Because
you
no
let
one
2
holds
attacks
5
leap
blocks.
through, it's just your whole life bar. It's just
Yeah, then exam strategy comes in. Yeah, exam strategy comes in to make it unblockable. It once again comes down to Armin needs resets, and I don't think the Armin deck is playing a lot of resets.
And there it is, an absolutely
Ouch.
massive attack. This was for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. And 11 damage, 5 high for 11, stun 2, 7 difficulty. Not too impressive from that 7 diff, but man, the follow-up that is potential on this turn is going to be incredible. Colossal even. Armin is definitely going to be wishing that he had transformed just to deal with what the Devil Jin has to offer. How much more can we push?
Yeah, we have a Mega Burst and a Smashing Stomp. I'm a little surprised we didn't see the Smashing Stomp coming first. Okay, so we can add that recheck to our card pool. It was
Interesting.
now on an 8, but it's as if we checked a 6.
So it's still 7 difficulty. He now checked a
here's
6
a
against
very
7.
complex character to wrap your head around the once per turn. So we played the Smashing Stomp with it's on a 5, 6, 7 because the 2 cards are currently in the card pool. And that's the difficulty you have to check. From there, we make our control check. It's an attack. We respond to Devil Jin before the attack is finished resolving. We add the team attack item into the card pool before the current attack is attempted to be played because it's not in the card pool yet. So we added it, and from there we count the cards that are in the card pool, which are the 3 cards. We have got the double arm.
So Devil Jin should have owed 1.
Devil Jin does owe 1.
That analysis is all precisely correct. Good job, commentators. This man's playing triple armbar.
But hey, you know what? +4 damage on our moves was not enough. We did want a 3rd armbar into the card pool. +6 damage, not to mention we can tackle with Devil Jin. I'm nervous if I am Armin. 1 more move and it might be all over. But looks like Welcome Space Land coming in to successfully make a block happen. Let me double check the block zone on Welcome to Space Land.
I believe it's a high block, 2 high block.
If it's a high block. It is a high block. I believe that we turned this Smashing Stomp into a high. So this is fully.
Yeah, we added the armbar, and because we led with the armbar, I guess we just wanted to go for the high check, keep it consistent, and now we go for the Mega Burst, and That's probably the last block that Armin is going to get for the turn. This Mega Burst is going to get huge. It's going to get plus 6 damage from the arm bars. It's going to get plus 6 damage or 7 damage from Devil Jin. That is plus
Hope you saved
13.
a
I
barrier
imagine
shield
it's
for
close
this
to
one.
lethal.
It especially is because we have that exam strategy at the bottom. If we
Barrier
were plus
shield
we
and a
can
half.
get it, David. And not to mention, for a little
Holy.
extra comfort, we can sacrifice the foundation for plus 3 speed and plus 2 damage. You know, attack on a little bit more with that combat for plus 2 damage. Commit the foundation. With this momentum, this would be an absolutely incredible time to see a second Welcome to Spaceland to re-ready up a Titan injection. Because I think that might be the only thing that is going to be saving us from a potential lethal KO over here from Zachary's Devil Jin.
That would be such a sick play, though. If it happened. A little surprised we added the low attack when we were making everything highs. But I guess we just needed the damage. So it's going to stay. It's staying in mid. It's a 5 mid for 18. And we can, yeah, exam strategy, make this a 12 mid. Here it comes. This looks like game. Yeah, they are picking up the cards. Devil Jin starting off with a 3-0 here. He's 3-0 before his lunch break. Still very, very strong offense. And the Titan arm bars make these things really, really scary.
Absolutely massive. Yeah, an incredible showcase here on Zachary's side. Just the offensive output of Devil Jin. And truthfully, I think Joffrey had an incredible Armin deck. A lot of, as you said, a lot of buttons being pressed, a lot of things happening, but it was a lot of moving pieces, not a lot of defense. And if you don't put your hands up against Devil Jin, he's just going to knock you down.
Yeah, and at some point in that game, Armin was a little too slow to transform. Like that game 2, Armin did get, I want to say 5 turns, and didn't really get to turn his character into something scary. It felt like all of the offense was coming from the Devil Jin side. That said, I can see if the game went a couple extra turns. Welcome to Spaceland, plus 5 damage with Armin. It does become really, really scary. There were some cool outwit things happening, and the Armin player was 2-0 before this, so very, very much not out of it, and perhaps they can make top cuts, and we have another chance to see them tomorrow. But with that said,
Can't wait.
yeah, they're jumping in. Our players are jumping into a short lunch break here. It's not going to be a full hour-long lunch break, but for those of you watching in the United States, it's going to be a long and late night. But so we'll be back in give or take about 45 minutes, and don't go anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I like everything the commentators said there about that match, that we had this dope Armin deck that was doing all kinds of cool stuff, and it was kind of ultimately it was moving cards around and was I'm reaching for the trope of the song the Shakespeare quote about I'm very disappointed in myself that this. Like, the hook of this was in my head very clearly, and then I just lost it. The poor player up on the stage, whose performance is full of sound and fury and signifying nothing. That's like way too harsh, but like it's kind of that dimension of it. It was a lot of moving cards around, and then fundamentally, Universus asked you, Devil Jin asked you, hey, how do you want to block this one? I've got a lot of numbers here, and you have a lot of options to interact with it. You have a lot of basic ways to say, just put your hands up. Say, I'm going to block your 4-speed high Chimera Kraken on turn 2, and he was not able to accomplish that, to just make that basic interaction happen. And then later on, he got kind of exodiated by the big attack string after Devil Jin's repeated huge build turns, and where he had spent a little while sort of spinning his wheels, not necessarily accomplishing much on his own build turns, his own spending his own interaction productively, his own agency productively. With his own build turns, his own the double besieges with no builds, never getting the 8 foundations type stuff. Interesting game. Something to reflect upon. But more peak universes. Let's go.
Looks like Aiden on peak is going to be going first. We're going to get some jumpers out of the way and see some quality universes. I'm excited for it. So from here, let's see what we get built. Let's talk about it. First card that pops onto the table. First Wielder. First Wielder being a unique card that says after your character transforms, it flips you ready foundation and gain 2 health, I believe. Very cool for the character that very similar to Midoriya. Transforms back and forth, over and over and over.
Yeah, that is a good, like, this play on the order symbol, that little bit of
ally message
to go in, and being able to, like, hey, I have multiple transforms, so why not play the foundation that gets me ready? I'm not going to transform that way. Why not get that?
Yeah, it's a very, very neat inclusion of the deck. But build 4 into Godzilla's build 5, including a ton of really awesome pieces like Fast Hybrid to add itself into momentum, get a little extra bonus to the check.
This is now Water Godzilla? No, it's Chaos, never mind.
Screon, I've aptly named it. A lot of cool pieces here. Looks like one of these beautiful Pearl Colossus squads. One of the key pieces that we saw in the previous speed game, obviously, is the Attune symbol gets to showcase here. For 5, builds into 2 fake foundations, you could call them. They can start at the end of the turn, but y'all could be sticking around that long to make it happen.
Yeah, this is definitely we're going to build these right now, but they're going to be back. They're going to disappear before. Like, rarely, if people who play Bosses Squad, either they're playing them when they're using the extra foundation filter, or if you have a bunch of sacrifice effects, those are just fine. That's all they are.
100%, yeah. And I will say, bit of risk reward going in this early with this Bosses Squad. I mean, it is a 6 difficulty foundation. Checking the 3 here would have been pretty devastating. The fact that we did get a 5 says that we do have a mountain of health to get through, right? 34 health on Godzilla's side. He's the king of monsters. He's a big boy for a reason. Yes, he gives us extra stats of potentially plus 2 damage, plus 3 speed on the backside, plus 1 more with the anti-Titan asset. But there's a lot of health to take down on Godzilla's side. And SWAT is an easy way to get that
yeah, we're going to pick up and get our anti-Titan artillery here on the board.
Yeah, so interesting spot here. So we are swatting, we check a 5, which is all great. And then I guess this is probably, like, there's like no universe where any human being would ever do this. But it occurs to me that you SWAT and you sacrifice a committed 0-diff. It's probably actually, yeah, it's probably incredibly normal and unusual to ever not do this. You just wouldn't play the SWAT if you weren't going to sacrifice a face down to, or sacrifice a pawn, a force set from your stage to flip and transform and get your Titan Artillery. I think that's like almost forced. You're never not doing that. But it briefly crossed my mind that maybe you would sacrifice the Blitz cards because they're going away anyway if your hand isn't full of attacks, if you're not ready to announce your intention. Really, that's the thought here, is that this is kind of an announcement of intention that we're going to attack twice here. We're certainly going to attack again, and we're probably going to attack like 2 or possibly 3 more times, or we're hoping to attack 2 or 3 more times, which, when you're Godzilla, like, it's hard to deal 34 even with a 4-hit string, even on turn 2, even with everything good happening here. Maybe I'm being overly pessimistic about Peak's chances here. Maybe this is going to completely pop off. I don't know. We'll see.
Which
Mine too.
So here's an interesting thing. I've been doing my math on this card, and I see a lot of people think 2 is the right number for this card, and I really like my one math line of it is always I want to play 3 because I don't mind going to get more copies later.
Yeah, absolutely. That response is really killer, right? A response after your rebel takes damage from an attack, selectively commit down one of their key foundations. You get to pick it, and then its damage probability is still playable committed. Very, very strong board piece for this character. Essentially, +3/+3 selected to middle of your turn whenever my move connects.
Yeah, I like the idea of just pulling it out. Like, I'll go find another one and replace. Good luck.
A lot of cool moves on Godzilla's side, right? We saw the fast hybrid go into the momentum, and now that we have the momentum, the fearsome transformation gets to flip and then draw a card. Since we have the momentum, we don't lose that extra card. Smash is not coming in for the low block, committing 2 foundations, and here is the reason that we played the Order Symbol Jesse.
This is
coming in. Huge
Gamer Peak, what the hell?
Being showcased here as a little mini SWAT.
Yeah, we are now +4 foundations for just this turn. I love it.
Yeah, if we have the gas, we easily can keep slinging some pretty impressive moves, as well as Botan's coaching if we need to go find that gas. But because of the attuned symbol, we still get all of these Bing Bong cards, such as the I'm With You, that the classic Death Symbol decks are looking for. So not only is this +3 speed because we're on the backside of the card type, but it's now +2.
Yeah, Lightning Rod is so cool. I love Lightning Rod.
We've got a skeleton coming out,
I love it in particular for
the onslaught
the
feels very, very good
sort
here.
of boring long game, the kind of the blend of a boring long game card and
Nathan is in trouble here. Do you think it's possible
terrifying
to take it down?
short game nut draw card.
I would not doubt it here.
We're here. I can plausibly imagine this is actually going to be a lethal turn.
If this connects here, I would get the light little thing just little brain back on my head.
If we're...
So this is coming in for.
No, it's still crazy, right? You can't.
The thing is that we don't. Oh well, there's one dog. Maybe we got. Now we're gonna come out. Let's see here. We got
Irrelevant up dog, like
There's
it's
7,
6 damage. Oh no.
I
I guess he's got a first wielder to +1 himself. He's gonna have 4 already with 3 in his card pool. Okay. Like that was a 7 damage lightning rod.
Flip, we get to first wielder, re-ready it if we so wish.
This is gonna be like
incredibly healthy, even
no, that was a 4 damage lightning rod. 5 damage. You can't first enhance from the front side when you're on the back side. He came into it on the back side.
Like I just love the idea of this character.
But this one can be
enlarged.
enlarged.
We're just going in and out card right here. All right, what do you got?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite flavor wins from the Attack on Titan set because of the fact that one of Peak's strengths as a character is their stamina, right? They in that last battle inside the manga, they were constantly being attacked, their Titan body destroyed, but because of the stamina and they've lived in that Titan form for so long, they can pop in and out of from human mode to Titan mode to Titan mode. So it represented here in the card game of the transform.
Alright, Botan's discard I'm With You.
I absolutely love it, but man, second I'm With You coming out of the stage from
clean play, we love that one.
+2 from the I'm With You. Scary,
But
very scary spot to be in as this.
we're like really trying to go in. We're trying to goldfish 34 against Godzilla. Godzilla's hard to goldfish 34 on.
I think it's only.
Maybe he's gonna just chill. He's gonna count and realize, okay, it's time to chill. Take our 2 momentum, yeah.
Between the other builds for the deck build, is it seems like there's not as many redraws. Like they're there, but they're like more heavy. Like a Rocket Dog, I would not consider like, hey, I'm always gonna get my auto redraw my Rocket Dog. Where it's like, in the other build, it felt more fluid for the redraws. Like, oh, I'm gonna always.
Yeah, I cut off my train of thought in there in the middle about my appreciation for Lightning Rod. It's really cool having a deflect 4 in your deck, basically, is the short version of that. If your opponent's going in on you, and they have to calculate around the breadth of interaction you might have.
I'm really happy with that.
Stacking that on top of the asshole I'm With You's, the face up I'm With You's, everything else.
Those foundations are not going to be here for long. Unyielding Destruction coming on the board. Tell me about this one.
Well, we're about to blitz and we're gonna tell.
Well, Unyielding Destruction sacrifice. Oh, sacrifice 2. Okay, yeah.
We'll go back to 4. Oh, so we're gonna we'll push and get a draw here.
That's funny.
Love this. Yeah, push element response. After one of my foundations is sacrificed, I get to flip it and then redraw a card. Great card. Unyielding Destruction, one of those cards that, as you said at the beginning, vilified, right?
Yeah, Unyielding Destruction plus Fast Hybrid is a nice interaction here. That's a foundation that gets out of your stage and then still helps you out from the beyond, so to speak. On top of just Godzilla helping pass the check later.
I have 7 foundations here 4. I don't think you're gonna hurt me nearly as bad as you did on the previous turn.
Yep, that's the one thing about destruction is it's pretty easy to block for the most part. It's more of like when people play. I feel like when people play that attack against me, I'm just like, okay, what do you got? What else you got? Because it's always the follow-up to it that I'm more worried about than the actual attack.
Absolutely. Definitely a disruption-based card rather than necessarily like an aggressive game-ending card. This is a tool to facilitate the end of the game, not necessarily the thing that is going to end the game in general. But here we have
Artillery,
another card
Speedy
with the
Boys.
face on it. This one is
Anti-Titan, which one is that? Anti-Titan
Artillery Shell.
Yeah.
Yes. 5, 3, 6,
the Artillery
2,
Shell,
baby
that's
stats,
right, yes.
But you won't be said after I finish reading again. But let's say I have one more foundations, or excuse me, one more assets, I draw a card, and my rival selectively commits one of the foundations. And then response after deals damage to a character, my rival loses 3 health, after deals damage to a backup, it loses 3 stamina.
Incredibly bad news here if we
Watch the
can
card be played,
cough up -2 damage
very,
on this, but I don't know if that's going to be
Also,
in the
it's
cards of
size, it's
Godzilla. So we're just going to...
not bad initial stats, especially if I repeat correctly. We get this like, hey, we get this up to +3 damage.
Yeah, I'm a big enthusiast for Protecting Yukina. What a card.
4, and maybe
That hot breaker, the hot one mid foundation,
super good.
sacrifice good momentum.
9 in for 4, even maybe a little bit more. If we got that
4 checks makes the game more
again,
interesting.
Look at the stage that
All
Godzilla
around.
now has. All turn sideways, any walk the dogs, and it's going to
Good
land.
stuff.
Vile Seizing coming through.
Vile
Classic second time
Seizing.
that I've seen this person on stream here. 3 high for 4. Ask my rival to make a pretty tough choice. Check a 7, meaning build the top of your deck. If it's a 7, you still pay foundation for it. If they fail, draw a card at +2 damage. Not an incredible piece, but when you can give the +3/+3 like PK, this thing starts to get these pretty scary stats pretty quick.
Yeah, this card is just, it's just one of those cards. It's like it's gonna be played until it rotates out of the format. It's just so well statted. It's not as much as the headlock threat as it used to be, in my opinion. But
Sure.
You're just like, all you're playing this for is like, hey, do I get to stun you? Is
Yeah,
it like
that's
alternative stun? That's all I ever saw it as. Like, okay,
A good amount of... So now, if,
all right, 2 damage to draw.
interesting spots. If Godzilla has a high block,
Flow card, you could say. I mean, for here, we have a disruption card of the
it's
Artillery Shell,
pretty painful for Peak to...
massive stats. It makes it something that they
Never mind.
It has,
Peak stacks one of their 3 ready foundations,
something like a,
or one of their 4 ready foundations to transform back and give it 3 more...
Now that my rival has
To not transform back, give it 3 speed.
Like we're deciding not to flip back to base side here. We're just gonna stay on the
Gets in for
Titans. I think we just want speed.
8, 9,
What
yep.
do you think that means signal-wise? If you are Nathan, does that bode
So-
that Nathan's done attacking?
I think they're about to play another attack age. They have the damage for it already.
Definitely
where I
stun one
be-
with that
All right,
with the artillery asset, right?
That's all we're.
That is
Maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Is like we're just debating. Do we?
So
launch the
Godzilla
one
here has... I'm assuming the counter on it means that the Death Average was used earlier already. But so he's got 2 ready foundations plus a character, so that's 3, and then Godzilla is +2 to a check. So that's 5, and then -1 for the card in the card pool. So he's got effectively your attack speed -4 plus his block modifier to pass his block. So a +1, or I'm just gonna let the video play and not try to reconstruct that match verbally right now. We'll see if Peak is going to keep attacking, if Godzilla is going to get a respite. Yes, he is.
And I miss. I check my 3, it's a runaway. I'm practically handing the game to the King of Monsters. I actually like the moment of hesitation, the moment of control, especially with checking back-to-back 3s on a 2-diff to commit the first wheeler, and now into the 4-side to get a little bit of Peak. I like the restraint that Aiden is showing being in this advantageous position.
Oh, I can agree with that. Let's build these 2 here. We'll take our
Yeah,
momentum.
so here's the big other side of things. So this is the spot where if Godzilla draws more copies of Unyielding Destruction, they're embarrassing, right? He is actually outbuilt. He has gotten an advantage, and this is something that's been kind of on my mind a little bit. Of
discard 4 cards, let's both get rid of our foundation base. But Godzilla's winning in the foundation count. He has more foundations. His stage
What do
is
you
more
mean he's
active and
playing?
vibrant
Maybe
than what
that's
he has. It is not tantalizing to nuke the board right now. And if you do nuke, you're at 7. What happens
Yeah,
if he
we're
accidentally finds
figuring
one
out
they find one
our-
4 check and they just win? They win on the spot?
Yeah,
the City Rampage.
Lightning Rod,
That's
50 foundations and go to the races here. But
100%.
here comes the City Rampage though.
Yeah, Check Rihanna is feeling pretty bad. Committing a card that wants to be put
Oh,
in the
that's
start
the-
pile.
that's the hostile instructions,
Instruction
right.
monster. That says after a 5 difficulty card is played. That doesn't include our City Rampage. It's allowed one for
Yeah,
City
so
Rampage
there's
itself.
there's a
Kind of.
there's 2 ways you can be ahead in
It's
Universus,
start
right? You can
Like
have there's
Titans. Yeah,
manifold ways you
Super
can be
dope.
ahead. One easy way, one way that I think a lot of people
the biggest thing here is
that I think a lot of people overrate is, let's say call it material. Simple, how many cards do I have in play? That's my material advantage. Material is only useful insofar as it helps you, as you can convert it into chances, improving your chances to win the game. It's nice to pursue material advantages because it's safe usually, right? Your opponent can't block you building foundations. Unless you go back to last week on History of Universes, I played Justin Birch in the Tycho versus Gabe starter decks from 2006, and they had a foundation that blocked your opponent's foundation. It said after your opponent plays a non-attack card, you kick one out of their card pool, and so literally you pay 5 to get Treachery in your stage, it's a 5 to get 2 control foundation, and it deletes their build. That's a exceptional case from way back in the day.
that means one of two things. Either we feel like we don't need it, which I mean, we're
Mega
choosing to do
tangent.
now. It's either
Here we
we're
are
choosing to do it
doing
now,
some city
or the
rampaging.
one thing
Godzilla is ahead on material, but behind on life total. He needs to win the game this turn. He's going to have a very hard time defending from 7 life. And it's in this kind of spot where Unyielding Destruction is kind of the entree into this this topic.
This is the tough situation.
Playing cards like Unyielding Destruction in your deck that's going to be put in spots of I have to win or lose right now is kind of cringe, kind of embarrassing. It's very ineffective. It's a 2-speed attack. It doesn't help you kill your opponent very well. It gives them a lot of ways to wiggle out of the checkmates you're trying to back them into. And I think that's the big dance that's kind of had me on copium about Unyielding Destruction since the day it was previewed. It's a exciting, scary card. It's kind of bad in a lot of spots you find yourself in if your opponent's willing to fight you. If your opponent's not willing to fight you, they're trying to play safe and secure, wire to wire, do nothing, just like fundamentals build. It's amazing, right? You wipe them back to a pretty small baseline of 4, right? If you're trying to play, here's my deck playing 10 difficulty Titan attacks, getting their foundations wiped down to 4, incredibly harmful to them for that game plan. But in practice, who's doing that so much? And who's going to do that even with Unyielding Destruction in the format? It's going to have some metagame effects. It's going to scare those people away.
It's a bit of insurance to manage the future, right? You got to find 2 more Mr. King of the Monsters. I'm a little bit more healthy there. Looks like Unyielding Destruction comes against the block. Checking a 3D, but it fails. We're dropping all the way down.
Also got a kind of crappy block, especially when you check a 3 on it. We'll see, can Godzilla close it up here? Yes, this is going to be not. This is
enjoying this compared to the
threatening 11 is not threatening 11 though, because he can flip and also probably gain some health with some of these first builders in the stage.
It's like I wish we were still playing Titan Cliff because I love the dig, but also I like the sufficiency attacks.
Yeah, Hero Killer is a card that exists in Hi Chat. Hero Killer is analogous, but Hero Killer did not commit to do that. Like, it removed. It was a 1-for-1 trade. Good old treachery with the flip stats and 2 control 5 difficulty. That was an R commit. What a... It was really an experience playing with that ancient starter deck. You can kind of see some of the bones of the game that I now love. It's like I feel like I'm almost like reciting very trite, normal, obvious tropes, but boy howdy, it was so different. Oh, actually, shoot, did we get a loss of consciousness on monster aggression in here during this turn that I wasn't paying attention to? That's dope. I see a lock symbol on it, and I see remove loss of consciousness. I'm putting that back together. I'm not sure how much it's going to have changed the math here, because we're going to 1. Oh, I guess, yeah, we're going to 1 so you didn't have to block this now, but we could have achieved that in other ways. Perhaps more painful ways. So.
With the powerful 2, I'd be nervous that maybe we are done with our turn, and there it is, leaving Peak to 1 health.
Peak Universus lived at 1.
I think that is the case.
We're like, hey, I'm gonna create momentum for one of your foundations. We'll take those turns.
I dig it. I think it's a very heads up play. The question is how much we find. Colossus SWAT though, gonna take and
SWAT checks at 5. You're dead. It's over.
2 more, 5 low for 5.
It's probably not over, but
get to the damage threshold that we need to be without spending momentum on that powerful 4. But
holy moly, powerful 4 though.
This move, a perfect turn enabler, a perfect turn starter. I love these characters trading 6 dips back and forth. I'm playing SWAT. You're playing. I just had it. It's gone.
Oh yeah, he sacked to. Okay, yeah, he started on he started as the Card Titan and decided to stay as the Card Titan here, it looks like, and then we got to draw off our Wingsmith. Dope.
But yeah, Colossus coming in, it's going to be a massive 8 low for, I'm sure we're going to spend a momentum.
HP low for dead on half, quite plausibly here, right? Oh, we are going to flip back. Okay. Very curiously, some of these actions are having long delays amongst them, but it's fine.
Replacing that foundation we had from checking so well on this Colossus SWAT. We started this with 3 foundations. We're ending our first attack with 5. What a great place to be if you're a RP player.
Yeah, perfect start to the turn here. Do we have the lightning rod follow up again? That's the one thing we are playing.
I like we got some good triumphal music here for this kill turn. This backswing. Is it a backswing? It's not really a backswing. It's really you failed to backswing me, so now I'm gonna finish it off. Yeah, powerful dead on half. I like that.
You gotta deal with what I got going on. 8 low for lethal. It looks like on
we
the
got
10,
the low block.
3, 4, 5,
we got
everything. 6, 7. Am I crazy? What did I miss?
Let's do the check.
8 difficulty. I wonder if we like double counted the check bonus or something. Or if I missed some things he committed.
Yeah. Obviously, the players are paying more attention to their game than we are. We also missed a small enhance somewhere along the way. But the question is what do we have before the follow-up?
The commentators equally surprised about the situation.
1 move, very easy for Pete to do. But we're deep in the tank. We're thinking, and the answer is walk the dog. This is on the 5. Checks another 3. committing out our 2 fictitious foundations. That's okay. Those are gonna go to this pile anyways. Let's just give them stats. Destroying for +2 damage, transforming peak once again into the Card Titan. Probably gonna splash on a little bit more speed on here as well. As it becomes
gotta be
6
it,
low from
right?
4, 8, 9 off of the artillery.
Yeah, that's the one. We're gonna take in the 2 and ready here. We want to get smart. If this doesn't connect, it looks like we have one more attack, but we want to make sure we're good to get it out there.
Yeah, and it might even be the fact that as the speed player, we might not even necessarily break a ready foundation for this plus speed, because, you know, stun and the Godzilla extra, if we check a 2, depending on how we feel, we might be preemptively ending our turn. I think it just all depends on how much pressure can we put on what
Build
the
off,
Godzilla
walk
has
the
available
dog,
to
yep.
again. Walk the dog, excuse me, runaway, incredible against the board position that Aiden has found himself in, with a printed 6 damage move and Godzilla at 7 health. I think the concept we're looking out for.
He
What
does
answers could
second
my rival
animal,
have?
yep. All right.
It looks
That
like
was it.
that
That's
is
it.
Pack it
it.
up.
There was +3 speed on the move, and I think we had a couple extras. I believe that file was face down. Not gonna see the hand to see if there was extra gas afterwards, but unneeded, truthfully, as we see peak
Aiden to be like again.
Infinity Sim, pocket couple more, clap swap,
Person
player plus during
behind the
Long sideboards.
I don't have to block. Wowzers,
We're skipping
I'm pretty
ahead.
sure that Godzilla just checked 3 support of the female Titan off the back. Checks 1, 2, and 3 of our game
Yes.
were this very high impact new ultra rare from the new set. Poor luck,
yeah.
especially with the hidden identity existing on Godzilla's board to snap his momentum. Imagine our next turn, Jesse, if Nathan just like rip 3 of those. After this attack resolves, if I have momentum, grab an extra one, redraw a card. After the first one resolves,
Yeah,
I can
look
just
at all
put
these zero
of the
diffs.
bonus plus 2 to my check,
Crazy.
and the momentum just pays for itself.
These are like safety 3s too. Like, why are we playing so many 0 diffs?
From here we have Peak, who's
Are
also
we
had a
drawing
good
so many
5 to
zero
mirror what
deaths?
Godzilla has, but you know, the asymmetrical aspect of our game, Jesse, Godzilla got to go first. We're gonna draw 1 game, we already draw X game, so as Godzilla builds out their 5,
Self-destruct.
we're starting the turn with 6 fresh cards, where Peak only has 2.
City
and let's see if those cards
Rampage.
can help us survive against a turn 2 City Rampage. The question for you, Jesse, will it kill? Is this a lethal line? Are you nervous for Aiden right now?
We play. Let's see how the first deck goes. Then I'll start feeling nervous.
That is
Looks
Right,
like,
is it-
all right, we're gonna take this. We're gonna do this first. That's a.
So
I think we see how this goes.
Horrifying realization coming down, form flip.
Aiden
We're
had a
both
0
discard card,
diff.
then we
He's
draw
now
a
covering
gift.
it
You
up.
didn't like that card in your hand, Pete? We may discard it. But if it was a foundation, you're gonna commit 1, so that
I
undealing
think
starts
that
instantly coming out
that's
of the hand.
that looks like the
Looks
minus
like
2
we found
speed
one is gonna happen.
Mikasa
Second one, let's go ahead and go with a
foundation.
massive swing. It's only 5-6, checks a 5. Luckily, we have a face down
We're
foundation to
gonna,
pay for this. We saw it in game 1. But let's see if you got the momentum. Let's go ahead and steal 1 from the top
Death
of the deck. Instantly turning our draw plus bonus
attunes 1
to check
diff.
for the rest of this turn if we so choose. Coming as a 5 mid 4 9.
I'm curious
for a
if
10
it
with a +1/+1.
is. Yeah, it's
Godzilla?
definitely 10 standoff, but it's sort of like 10
That's a third
time for
Godzilla right
battle,
there,
which
one
is,
move.
would also be interesting here.
I mean, that's the right one. This is the right play to me. We want to start strong here. We want to make. I really want out of Peak here. If I was Godzilla, I want offensive photons to happen. That's a big thing here. I want to see. Defensively using the photons. If they're using photons defensively, it's giving me the ability to filter out my attacker. Because we might be able to just find everything we need and we're good.
That's true. Yeah, the defensive
Peak-
sculpting for.
Peak has a range of
like,
options here. How
there
does
is
she want to
there is
respond to this?
The idea of if I'm sculpting on my
How
rival's
much-
turn,
how
they
much
also
flinching
just
are we gonna
sculpt it,
do?
right? Like they're also going to be discarding cards that they don't want to then
Now
redraw.
flipping.
It looks like first enhance is going to be Peak for commit to rebuild, and then I missed what we flipped there. I think it was a minus speed move somehow.
Yep, 10 standoff.
I just
I think it was
missed the
something for
card.
-2 speed. I can't figure.
Tense standoff, I believe. Flip
Yeah.
-2 speed. If my rival
We all
cycle,
got
I
that
also
at the
get
same
to draw a
time.
card.
I love it.
It was just so quick.
Is this a half
It was so
block?
fast,
Don't
it
do
was
this.
decisive about what it
Don't
would do. It
half
was like
block,
hard
dude.
coming through
Don't
the
do
net before.
this.
First deck lands. Oh, there he is again.
Alright, man,
so it's-
checking a second 2 or second 3. Man,
Check the 6 against 8.
you
Easy.
have,
6,
Lost.
7, 8 with +4 to our check. I think we checked 7, right? So now
Yeah,
we commit
yeah,
the
check
Master's
one.
Pride, steal them if we want. We ready? It's like,
Yeah,
it's like we didn't check,
check one,
check that at all. We're fine.
We're fine. Don't worry about it.
Decline to
Okay, 5 to
Masters.
7 mid for 10 here, man. It's crazy how every move Godzilla
Master's
swings.
Plan
is
respond to that
worth
momentum?
Just
Who
every
needs it?
time. And he says, hey, there's more to come using Godzilla for spinning that momentum, +2 more to our check. I am here to play attack cards. I'm making the monsters peak. I'm going to show you what's up.
I think we're just making some decisions here. Yep, we're gonna go for let's reduce the bonus damage a little bit. We're gonna get -4 to bring it back to.
Oh, my hit's a
Yeah,
time.
activating
This
the
might
ability of
be
player goal after one of your foundations is destroyed. You may flip a foundation
the
shape
end of the
with
stream for the
an additional
moment.
-2. So he gets a 10 move all
In a
the way back
little
to
bit
the
here.
of 6.
We'll go get our artillery here.
Yeah,
This
as
is a double sleeve deck. So it's
Yeah.
like they're like picking up these chunks. I'm like, oh, that's really like a giant deck. Not really that big of a deck, but
right,
you have a double sleeve because you're trying to protect. Looks like we're trying to protect these really, I'm assuming really nice quality sleeves here. I want so you or it might be triple sleeve.
It's not a
It could
sufficiently
be
randomized deck,
triple sleeves,
guys.
and you'd want to, right? Have you seen those Earl Colossus swaps that we're playing? Absolutely stunning. They're beautiful. Why would you not? But it looks like we are going to make this attack land, and from here, I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty good City Rampage turn. We have checked a couple 3s here. We opted not to reuse the Master's Pride. Is it possible to give it a ghost? Because Smashing Stop is going to make me say no, because obviously we're going to check a file on this one. Yeah, obviously, we're due.
Obviously.
We're due.
Obviously, we checked it.
Yeah, it had to come up blackjack for us eventually.
So,
Checking 2 3s
yeah,
on the first 2
Godzilla's
attacks.
still a
You're
long way
owned
from
for 5.
actually
This one now a
killing
5 low for
here.
another 10 coming in. Very scary. If there's another attack, Jesse. If there's another attack, this could just be a lethal line, especially with the amount of cards that exist in the hand. And it looks like Photon's coaching coming in
Photon's
saying,
happening.
hey, I don't have a low block. Let's discard a card, redraw a card. We're going to filter a little more. Oh,
Ooh.
love the hand trap. Incredible. Loss of
schmoovin'.
consciousness. If you had to pick right now, which
Let's
card
see
are
what
you
happens if I take
What's
out
the deal here?
one earbud and
Realization?
just plug it
Yeah,
back
Yeah,
in.
realization seems like the
We're
most
still-
the best choice, just because.
So
we're
tell me
trying
if
to
this
make sure
if my
they
quality
don't- if
abruptly
if
goes
they
to total
are-
shit, or
don't have
if
any other
I
options.
am no longer audible or
Yeah,
something.
if
we're
we are
gonna say no
swapping-
and no momentum.
Love that. Yeah, hiding in plain sight here. Going in. If if my rival is at Desperation, I get to steal momentum from itself plus an extra one on top of my deck. And man, we are hitting very hard. Desperation is right around the corner.
Yep.
What do you think that says about us potentially not blocking this attack?
We're blocking this.
Oh man. That's about to be an goes uncontested down to 7. Redraw the card if we remember the response off of the
Well,
Smashing
I wish I
Stone.
had a don't do
Plus
this in
1
my hand to
our
block
check
the
bonus.
Smashing
We still
Stone.
have access to Warframe Relation at the top.
I mean, we might not have got here if we had.
Be over incredibly quickly. Looks like
I'm
we're
going
opting
for
not
it.
to do the response, but we are thinking in the tank. Do I want? Oh, haven't left the response window yet. We just barely remember. We were so excited to play that second card. We almost didn't get there, but with an extra card in my hand, I feel so much better playing attack. I got 2 cards to find myself with. Unyielding Destruction coming in on a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with plus 3 to my check. Checks an 8. I need 1 more from you, good sir.
We're trying to kill someone with a 2-speed mid attack.
It looks like
Imagine playing a real attack here.
It makes total sense to me. From here, 3 mid for 11.
This
No,
devastating
that's
stun 1 ability of
Hey,
yielding
yeah,
destruction.
And you had 4 foundations? Wow. What a
3
incredible list here.
speed, guys. Gets
Yep.
+1 from City Rampage.
This one for sure gets blocked though, right? This is an incredible slow.
This is. I mean, it's you have to block with something, but we're
And
just
it makes it marginally harder to backswing, you know? That's
I think we'll
nice.
decide now we're gonna greater grid this.
Yeah, I don't know
I think
why
it's like a
we
permanent
would,
stun
right?
one.
Like this is a 10 damage move, and so from here, when we partial level go back down to 2, the difference between going from 2 to 3 is just so irrelevant. But I think this is showcasing that we have a high.
That
Go for the partial here, down to 2.
reinforcement's
One more move.
nice.
We have one more. We really have 5 attacks right here.
Maybe our rival gave it to us. Who knows? I will say, if you are Nathan, let's pretend there is an attack card
You
here.
know, virtually
Play it,
3
we just get
progressive difficulty with
-100.
3
We
OD
fail out the turn.
foundations. That is
Playing
any
incredible
card is
turn,
passable
incredible
here.
player, dropping our rival down to 2 health and grabbing 4 momentum for our cause. Wowzers.
I don't think we have a City Rampage and the Foundation. That is what we got.
Fortify Transformation, that makes sense. Ends up checking the attack anyways. I think we're going to be opting to fail this. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Foundation, are we willing to commit for this?
You
Answer
commit that
is
every time.
We commit everything. I think we're going to take our 4 momentum and run from that turn. Wowzers. What a high
Great
impact Godzilla turn. Exactly what you want. The only way it could have been better is if he got the kill. Like it was just, hey, there was 1 more move and we just did it. It looks like opting to now
Oh, he
utilize
does want a
the,
Master's Pride after all.
Master's Pride.
But only
Yeah,
after,
one card
only
in.
during the end stuff.
Jesse, what do you
Not
think
during
this has
the
on the crackback?
City Rampage.
34?
Not during the,
34 to be able to fight.
wasn't the Rampage, it was
I
the,
don't think we have 34.
That isn't cool, right? Like it's so easy and it's gonna be
we
it's
need,
snap
like,
your fingers, it's tight.
We need a very specific. We need like the thing is like okay, we got SWAT. We got SWAT, but we didn't check. We didn't get the good check here.
And we were honestly due for that. Playing all these SWATs on 6s and then not checking the 3s all the time was making me a little mad. I was a little
That
frustrated.
is how you
for
want to
Nathan,
start
truthfully.
this. If you're
Come up
gonna
against this,
backswing,
five
and
low, now
this is how you
8
want to start
low,
it.
4, 5. But because of the fact that we are stuck on this card Titan side, and the other half of peak is a flip cost, or sorry, first enhance ability, we are not getting the extra damage associated with it, which is going to push that 34 health goal a little bit further.
I don't see like I mean we have a lightning rod. I could see maybe we can get there. We have a lightning rod. We don't have the rod. I don't think we have a line to get there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really tough. I think honestly the
It
issue is the
occurs
amount of
to
average
me
damage we
that
have access to on peak. I just don't,
The
like, how many
equity
attacks, even if
maximizing play
there were
here
no
is
blocks
probably to
associated with this,
concede
we know
this game and
one
go to
block
game
costs back,
3.
right? We got +2 to our check. and then the
There
floating
are
+2
fewer than
saves
12
us
minutes on the
whenever we
clock.
need it.
As
How many attacks does peak have to play to crack this 34 health? I'm thinking 4 if not 5 in the same position that Godzilla was in last time, but we know Godzilla can block one of these. We know it's going to happen.
I think you become a punching bag. I think you try not to. I think we just float the +2 to your next check. Save it for when we need it.
I mean, maybe he's
Oh, here we go.
just
We're
built
like,
different
that
with
was part 2 of the
the
puzzle.
SWAT and the
Yeah,
lightning rod plays.
Instantly paying back, not necessarily caring about the
Yes,
about
this
the 4 check
is-
on that colossal SWAT. We're going to be popping
What
in.
does suck, I feel like
They
this
are not
is
real already, which is going to be very tempting for this peak to be destroying real face
a beef that survives a lot of copium that you might have about the current
I think we should-
state
I
of
think we should-
Universus
I think we
broadly
should have been efficient
is
and-
it does suck when you're halfway between things, when you have a lot of blitzes and then you also have occasionally enhances that now break your muscle memory, like Lightning Rod, which is just Colossal Swap, but it's an enhanced. And so if you use the habit of build 2 as your first action during the attack because you're used to blitz, like Colossal Swap, then you play Lightning Rod and now you've missed your first enhance.
Here it is. Lightning Rod coming in for 6. Got a stun 1. +4 my check, rebuilding our foundations. Funny enough, we started
Yeah,
with
the
4
only way
foundations,
Godzilla could ever
4 foundations. We don't have 5
be
foundations.
incapable of
Why are our
blocking
stages
here
wrong?
is if he
Yeah.
just loses on
I
downs.
think noticing
And
one
this
thing here.
peak is not
Godzilla has
zone
been
focused. It's
or,
not
like, a possibly a safety block in case we get stunned out completely.
it's not like overwhelming and it's not so like at some point in the turn there's going to be some hook for Godzilla to play a block if he wants
There we
to.
go. There's the walk on. Oof.
Yeah, there's on a 4, 5, 6 checks. Or excuse me, we got 3 foundations. This is on a 7. So let's take 4
See,
foundations.
that's the real upside of annihilating destruction actually here is that you have fewer foundations that can be committed so that you're playing around walk dog and get
This
harder.
is going to be damage that we're leaving on the table here as a 6 for 6, 6 for 7 with that artillery, dropping us down to 15, turning our card sideways, signifying that we're probably going to be done with the turn. The question here is how much are we allowed to rebuild? We gotta have cards in hand to defend ourselves. We still need to stabilize our board, make sure we have an attempt to play the game next turn.
All right, we're gonna use what we got here. We got our foresight here. We got a little peek. We know we're supposed to get rid of that feedback. Like, nope. I'm gonna go down a card and get rid of it.
Man, really devastating position if you're over here as a Aiden or Peak fan. Because either way, that's gonna feel bad, right? Spinning the don't do this for the extra stun would be incredible to have on our board. Taking these.
I like that we had different counters for the different
cards
outcomes.
out of
Once
your
again,
hand on potent turns.
whining about things that are similar but not the
I
same.
think it's gonna be a very, very strong.
Oh god, it's a next City Rampage turn.
Why we discarded a card and redrew a card. But that is okay. Whoa. Unfazed. 4 high for 7, 5 high for 11 inside of Godzilla with an incredible echo to be played. You have to interact with this move twice. I mean,
yeah,
this
let's just go next. We're gonna make the correct call for Aiden to pack him up and go to the game 3.
First, I'm gonna make turn 2.
We'd be fine with just a lightning rod. We want like the 5 build to go to 7, then fight to 8.
That he has access to. So good at getting those foundations empty as our game prince. It's all in their hands, man. Sometimes
There's
you
like
can
no
back
way
from what the
this
luck the gods give us.
resolves, right?
First,
Like,
it's all for them. We can go so
4.
far.
Okay, we got the 4.
I think a 4 build is totally acceptable. Not the 5 that we want, not that perfect, brilliant line, but a very clean build 4 with some very high impact cards. Greater goal plus I'm with you is some incredible damage reduction, especially in this character. Not like this in Botan's coaching.
Yeah, I was talking smack earlier about all the zero diffs and spams and stuff. If we're lightning rod gaming, I can appreciate being a little bit heavier on those than
extra foundation interaction with things like the
one may wish to be otherwise.
Monster, a little bit of card draw with horrifying realization, some stat bonus and a lock breaker with the monster aggression. Both of these
Godzilla's pretty heavy on spam. But I don't know, maybe he's fine. He's definitely drawn some 2 diffs here and there.
I don't have it built to pass. Jesse, what do you think happened here?
We did.
I muted the wrong thing to not give you guys, not make you guys listen to me talking.
We didn't have the lines, so we're like, okay, we're gonna build, we're just gonna hope we can have Godzilla overextend on turn 2.
Yeah, I think I appreciate
I totally agree. I think that the way that we're gonna get this done, honestly, is
very quick build here. Again, in terms of timer equity,
this game,
we are trying to make sure we get another turn, and if we get attack, I think optimally we would want to have like thrown some hands there, trying to get some momentum, try to get something going. Although I say that not really knowing, it's kind of inferring from the other tweet we saw that had things like Thunder Spirit Barrage, maybe not present in this deck.
We're looking for our build.
Yeah, we did the quick build 2 pass, hoping to get to this point where we have 30 health. I think, or 30 seconds rather, to make sure we have 30 seconds, even whatever Godzilla does. And here, okay, we are not timer aware. We are actually just making safety. Let me not get killed by. Let me hold the draw plays. I'm pretty sure here. Then that's what that signals to me.
So many ways to just cripple what Aiden has honestly taken 3 full turns after going first, building up. Just the pins. And there it is.
Review City Rampage.
We are down to take our time.
I like reviewing City Rampage as a general principle. That is a play that is appropriate in various spots. You can also consider reviewing City Rampage before the game starts by taking it out of your deck list.
Yeah, I got, like, let's go.
But yeah, there's no matter how likely you think this is to succeed, there's no cost to sending these attacks. You're player 2, you're beating last turn.
It's not possible. There is a 0% chance that Aiden gets to walk out of this with a 2-1 victory. Nathan still has a pretty significant chance.
Oh, we had the seal.
That makes total sense. Honestly, I don't even know if I would have pressed the button here. I think that as Godzilla, I think my stage is really, really good. If I have the moves, I want these cards in my stage so I can pass as many of them as possible. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I think it's a tough position to be in, especially without said momentum.
I'm gonna fire off for -4 damage here, -6 total.
Yes. Currently a 4 damage unyielding, which is crazy to say after, we just resolved -6 damage over here as my P player. Oh yeah, I guess I'll drop it down to 4. So this one thing is 10 damage
today, in outrageously marginal decisions, I think you actually don't search out your anytime artillery there as peak. You'd rather it remain in your deck to have another 5 check. You're making your checks infinitesimally worse.
Just like, all right, what can I do to not go down here? Because these players are XO. They are a combination of one is 201 and the other one's 21. And if I remember correctly. So I would not want to hear those situations because then it means I'm going to play out.
Yeah, Aiden right now is 2-1. He absolutely
this is kind of. I'm going to skip ahead and
it's just curtains for him.
See if my headset's actually on or not. Or
hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, 2 earbuds in. I currently have one of them back in the thing charging.
So very heads up play here.
And
committing a singular foundation.
The one that's ringing in my ear right now is beeping at me like, okay, I'm about to die too.
One draw, incredible game from both Nathan and Aiden. Understanding when I was on a push, when I had to pull. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, I think that is a good enough excuse to call it a day. Thanks for joining me, folks who have tuned into the stream. I've enjoyed watching these matches a lot, and it's been fun yapping at you. And I hope you enjoyed your time.
I don't know, Matt. Obviously, I'm a Universus player.
Watching these matches with me.
These awesome players. I hope every single one of them gets first place, no matter what the record
Tune in on Thursday, and probably at some point we might make a more regular intentional time for History of Universes. But check out the Vortex Cast YouTube page. Probably today, probably soon. Hopefully, we're gonna have some videos to go over there and check out that were live streamed on our Twitch page, Vortex Cast, where we stream every Thursday, just about. Probably just about every, yeah. I mean, we've had several Thursdays missing one or more hosts now, and we've still been consistent on showing up at least. and also occasionally on other days of the week, such as last Tuesday where we played once again the Penny Arcade. The Penny Arcade History of Universus match of Gabe versus Tycho. That was one of the games of UFS I've ever played. Certainly. Yeah. All right. Bye, folks.